Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all the listeners of the Good Anime Palette podcast. It is now time to go into what we've all been waiting for, but except for Jason and I, because we've been dreading this is going to happen. We are now entering Spring 2023. That's right. It is a brand new season of anime. Both of Jason and me have been very actively keeping up on it, I promise. But before we go into it, we do have to do a little bit of disclaimers, a little bit of cleanup and stuff. So, introducing myself, Will. Introducing Jason. Jason, I know you've been super busy in the morning because you needed to try and clean up as much anime as possible for this episode. How are you feeling now?
What's up, guys? It's episode number 56.
Feeling? Yeah, sure. Forgot about that. Yes. Wow, 56 episodes. Feeling nice and fresh, ready to rock and roll with today's episode?
Fuck yeah.
Right. Because I think literally before we started recording, like you only just finished. Were you actually watching a new show like for the seasons, or were you just like cleaning up something that you had watched?
Oh, no. Spoiler alert. While I was in the bathroom, I decided to watch the first episode of Heavenly Delusions. We will talk about that. Will has watched 2 episodes of it. Well, I'm going to hold my judgment. Hold judgment. But that's like, what was it like when we usually meet up to record? That was like 15, 20, like actually half an hour prior. I finished that.
Yeah. So because of the fact that there's going to be a lot of stuff we're going to be going over, unfortunately this time we will be omitting not only the reading and watching section, because we did read and watch a lot of stuff, but not as an aside, not as cleanups, but more rather like for today's discussion topic. And also not going to be doing any news. There have been a lot of news, actually, stuff that we do really want to talk about, but I feel like if we actually talked about news, we'd be running well over 3 hours.
Yeah,
so,
I would say so. And also, traditionally speaking, I think when we first did our first seasonal, we had news. Then all of a sudden, It just was like, you know what? We don't even have time for that. The whole show.
To be fair as well, it's like a lot of the news we have are not very good news. In fact, like I'd say like half of them are like
bummers.
Basically, we'll get you to hell. Like the other half will be like, kind of standard. But there's some really, really batshit crazy and like bad news time stories that we don't really want to get into. So
either we're just going to forgo that, or maybe have an amendment, have another bonus episode, something like that. But
yeah,
fret not, guys.
There are going to be occasional drops of like news, simply because it might pertain to one of the series we'll be talking about later, or it might just be something that we just kind of interject with. We'll make the timestamps accordingly.
And we'll put the stuff in the show notes if you need to know about where these news stories came from. But we have to go into our main discussion topic right away, Will. Spring 2023. So let me
do we have to go into the disclaimers again?
I was just about.
Aren't they updated on the website yet? Not yet. We will be soon. So whilst the hamsters are running in their wheels and making sure that our internet is running to be able to update our shit, I guess we'll have to do this one more time, going into the episode disclaimers for Spring 2023.
You know what? Fuck it. You know what? You putting me on blast like that? That kind of hurts. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it wasn't you. It was the hamsters. The hamsters were supposed to do their job.
Hey guys,
we didn't
get off that wheel. We gotta update that website.
Yeah, we didn't give them clout and exposure to just slack off, right?
Yeah, I mean,
we don't actually employ hamsters. We're not abusing them or whatnot.
Yeah, PETA, don't come after us. I'm also just literally shouting off mic to no one.
Yeah,
we don't have. It's just a 2-man show, but
so we'll just do it like super quick, super abridged. We're going over the TV new series for the Spring 2023 anime season, which would include some sequels, some brand new shows, but that doesn't mean we're going to be covering everything because, 1, we don't have time. 2, there are going to be sequels of shows that we haven't watched the original first season or subsequent seasons of, so we'll be omitting those.
Yeah, and a good example is Will has caught up with Dr. Stone and Demon Slayer. I have not, even though I have finished the manga of Demon Slayer a long, long while ago. So
we will be mentioning that, but for example, like Eden Zero second season. Neither of us watched the first season, so why the hell would we be talking about it?
Yeah. Plus, if you're invested in it anyways, you would probably watch it. The other thing that we also want to mention is that we probably didn't. Some shows we don't mention, but we have watched. So we just decided to cut them because it's not really worth mentioning. Or
it's like we don't want to spend a couple minutes explaining why we don't want to watch the show. Rather, we'll just go from the beginning and just say, yeah, we watched it. It's not worth checking out.
Yeah. The other thing is the shows that we do recommend or are going to cover, we have varying degrees of consuming everything that has currently been released, or maybe one episode rather than like 2 or 3 that has already been released so far.
For the most part, I think half the series are on their second episode, or at least have released their second episode as of recording, and then a lot of the others are still very much on their first episode. Some have yet to be released, but we're not going to be waiting for them. We got a podcast to run.
Yeah, time waits for no one.
I know that we have, of course, now becoming a thing, sort of general observations of every season of anime.
To be fair, I kind of like that.
It's good to at least sort of keep track of how things are developing over the course of the seasons, over the course of the years. I mean, the fact that we did a whole episode breaking down 2022 was I thought was really fun. It might have been dry as shit, but it was super fun for me. I'm sure it was fun for you too.
I mean, let's tease the listeners and you, Will, which is I think every year we should have a retrospective and a redux. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So we'll definitely be revisiting the anime summary in terms of the stats, in terms of like the studio performances, at least once a year. So I guess sort of like quick general observations on how spring has done so far. Yes, it's only really been 2 weeks into the spring season, but there's a lot of stuff that I think not only like we can see very blatantly, but like once we start watching more of these series, it becomes very clear that the direction that spring 2023 is going into. So let's just go into like some of the numbers first. It looks to be pretty much strong in the middle between 7 and 8. There are a lot of 7s. I think you've broken it down. That's a series between 7.00 and 7.99. There's 21 as of recording. It may have gone up or down, but it should be in that ballpark. Quite a few in the 8 to 8.99. Not as much as definitely more than Winter.
Winter was like 13.
No, there was only
was like 8. Shit, let me check.
There were only 5 shows that had an 8 and up. Winter was pretty bland.
Bare bones? Shit.
Yeah, Fall was what you're thinking of. Fall 2022.
Yeah, it might be.
Fall had like 9 to 10 series at 8 and up, because that was the season that Bleach came out.
Yeah, that's sorry. Yeah, I got it mixed up.
Yeah.
That was also when Bochi really got into a 9.
Exactly, right?
Yeah,
so that was like the hot season. I think that's spring last year was also very strong. At the moment, it seems to be doing pretty well. There is one that is completely blowing the charts right now. If you haven't seen it yet, you'll definitely know by the end of this episode. But yeah, those shows that are scored 5 and below, which is a good thing. But there are still, of course, a couple that have to linger in the 5 to 5.99.
What I will say is that the general distribution of shows in terms of their MAL scores is pretty much standard.
Yeah.
As in, the majority is in the 7s, with the second highest amount of shows in the 6s. So you get some 8s, and coincidentally here you have a 9, and you get like a straggling number of.
It's a consistent curve.
Very consistent compared to other seasonals. So there's nothing really to go off about, really.
Yeah, but we're not only just going off of hard stats and numbers. We also want to go with the vibe.
Yeah. I think we should do that.
You definitely like put a lot of focus onto what you kind of inferred from the direction of the seasonals this season.
Dude, I'm a corny ass motherfucker, and I'm gonna push that narrative until I get what I want.
The more I see it, the more I'm like, you know what, you're onto something here. Because I was just trying
to
find.
Really?
No, I think it's clear. Okay, so what I'm trying to get at is that there is a very clear kind of separation of certain series that are going in one direction and certain series going in another direction. I'm just taking this from Jason's mouth. There's a lot of fluffy shit and there's a lot of edgy shit. There's not as much in between.
There is edgy, but we're talking about the edgelord,
the sharp, the dark, the downright dirty.
And who best to tell you that such a phenomenon exists this season than the lord of all edgelords and the
fluffiest of senpais.
The fluffiest of senpais, right? That is really honestly how I feel about looking through watching all these shows, is that it is the three S's, really.
Yeah.
It's either like saints, like super fluffy, super awesome, innocent, cute, then the sinners, like just downright violent, dirty, gory, scummy, edgy, and then secrets, as in mystery, and it's just.
I'm actually like kind of surprised as well. I just thought about it too. In the sinners category, you had like a certain show. Why didn't you have Hell's Paradise in that one?
Oh shit!
Yeah, that was a very clear, obvious one. But what we're gonna be we're not gonna be like sort of like molding the discussion based on those vibes, right? I think it will just be a little bit too esoteric to just basically try and see, oh, does this fit into the Saints category? That's just too like too specific.
But I do think that that dichotomy, if you will, is present throughout the whole anime season.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of hard to not have that idea in my mind after I kind of incepted it in my mind. But nonetheless, you still get your standard number of hype sequels. This time around, Dr. Stone, Demon Slayer, Ancient Magus' Bride, Tonikawa. King's Ranking kind of is an offshoot. KonoSuba kind of an offshoot.
Yeah. I think last season it was like you had a fair amount of sports, you had a fair amount of buddy comedies, you had some like rom-coms, you had some mechas and a bunch of other stuff. I mean, dude, like you had fucking The Girl Next Door, Supposedly Rotten, you had Trigun Stampede, Tomo-chan's a girl.
Yeah.
Then you also had Tsurune, Bunny Daddies, Danmachi, Bungo Stray Dogs 4, as well as Vinland Saga 2, all the way down to stuff like Cooking Isekai. No, Campfire Cooking.
Campfire, yeah.
And what was the other one? Oh, the magic, the Genius Lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was
Reincarnated Princess of Genius
very
Lady,
much like more varied in Winter, where you had like some isekais, some reincarnation, some comedy, some rom-coms, straight up action, but not like it wasn't very clear that there was like two sects, whereas this season is like very much like you're in the good camp or you're in the sinner camp.
Yeah, and that's nothing to do with the quality of the show. It's just literally angel, devil,
literally the themes,
heaven and hell. I mean, literally, we have a show called Heaven's Delusion and then Hell's Paradise, oxymorons within itself, and then compared to each other, oxymorons too. Have you thought about that?
I didn't even think about that.
Like,
yeah,
being a delusion is not a good thing, but it's heavenly. A paradise is not hell, but okay. And then compared to each other, it's just this black and white dichotomy motif is present nonstop everywhere in this season. That's why I have the saints and sinners thing.
So I think it's like if you are very much looking for that clean cut anime, or you're looking for stuff that is just straight up scummy and dirty, you've literally got the pick of the lot. You got a lot of shit you can pick from. If you're kind of more looking for like a rom-com or a drama and stuff, you'll find things here and there, but I think this is not your season. You're not. If you're looking for rom-coms, there are some. If you're looking for dramas, there are some. Suspense, mysteries, supernaturals. There's always going to be like some in betweens. But I think that if you're looking for like straight up, just completely violent and gory shonens, or if you're looking for, this is the comfiest of comfy anime, this is the season.
Yeah, okay, I agree. And I think the last thing I would say before we go on to the shows that we are not covering in this episode is just the amount of hyped shows that has kind of led up to this season. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, Oshi no Ko. Yeah. That has been hyped to death. Aka Akasaka's new written, and he is having a new serialization announced recently. But obviously, this show has been hyped to death because of the manga has been hyped to death. We kind of hyped it up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Insomniacs After School.
I think with like Oshi no Ko, I've read somewhere on the Mal discussion boards that when the manga first serialized, that people weren't as hot on it. Like the ranking for it was like a raw score of like 6.7 to 6.9, and then it slowly started creeping up. But because of the fact that Akasaka like literally busted his ass to make this a good series, and then when the serialization came out for the anime, the adaptation came out for the anime, right out the gate, just completely blew everything out of the water. We're looking at like a whole fruits basket thing all over again, but this time, and also, shit, what was the other one that he did? Wow, the name is.
Oh, really? You don't remember?
It's stuck in my
when you
head.
go to war, Will, what is
Love is
also
War, yeah.
there you go. Kaguya-sama, Love is War.
So
yes.
yeah, that's the one. You corny ass dude.
Okay, so other hype shows have also based off of mangas that at least Will and I have heard a lot about, murmurs, whether through Mal or whatnot. Insomniacs After School.
Also, if you listen to our ASAP, then you would also know, like, yeah, shit like Hell's Paradise. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
A lot of hype behind
and
that.
I really regretted not being able to talk about Insomniacs After School, the manga for ASAP, but because it wasn't
good.
released. So at the time of recording, because it was released literally, I think, the week after.
Yeah.
So we couldn't get that. Skip and Loafer, though, also covered by our ASAP. And guess what? It's now, the anime's here. So
Yep. So, as Jason alluded to, these are the series as well as sequels that we're not going to be getting into. So, for example, Kuma 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 Bear Season 2, because neither of us watched Season 1.
to be fair, though, I do want to watch that show.
It's an isekai, apparently.
Yeah. Do you know the premise?
I don't.
The girl is in a bear suit because it gives her powers. Okay. Move on.
Fair enough. Okay.
And it's cute. There you go.
Sacrificial Princess and the King of the Beasts. It's not out yet.
Yep. When does it get released, Will?
Haha, blaze it up, 420.
There you go.
Eden Zero second season, because neither of us even considered watching the first season. MSG, The Witch from Mercury, season 2. You're part way through season 1.
Nope.
You've only watched episode 1.
Episode 0.
You didn't watch the first episode? Oh, okay.
Yeah, dude.
Okay, fair enough. All right.
I kept saying, like, I'll get to it. I promise I'll get to it. And I never did.
Yeah.
No, I do intend. It's one of the. Okay.
It's the same thing that, like, at some point we will intend on watching Birdie Wing, but because we haven't watched anything from it yet, other than the clips.
No, I watched like 2 episodes of it
just to see, right?
Yeah.
And then but then we won't be able to talk about season 2. Maybe one day we'll talk about it though. Other stuff. This one actually is a good reason why we can't talk about it. Blue Orchestra, because it is only airing on Annie Plus Asia, and unfortunately we're not able to get access to it. So
I have not watched it, so
Yeah.
I can't even tell you how I feel about it, other than the fact that I can't find it. So
yeah,
sorry, guys.
Marginal Service. We're not going to talk about, and also the fact that the score looks atrocious.
Then you get like your idol stuff, right?
Yeah,
like Idol,
Cinderella
Girls,
Girls, U149, Mix, because we didn't watch season 1.
Tokyo Mew Mew second season. Okay,
Which
so,
I did watch episode 1 of, and it was just cringe. This is very, very cringe. Magical Destroyers.
Okay, I do want to watch Magical Destroyers because I've heard that it is not as bad as the high 6.9 whatever that it has.
I think it's 6.88.
Something like that, yeah. So I do want to check it out. The premise, it sounds kind of cringe, but I heard people say that it's actually not as dumb as you think, Jason, or who, like out there, the internet. So
yeah. World Die Star. Don't know anything about it. Summoned to Another World for a Second Time. It's an isekai, which means that we get to be a bit picky about isekais. There's way too many. The Aristocrats, Otherworldly Adventure, Serving Gods Who Go Too Far. Whatever. Rakudo's Bad Girls. Again, Yuri Is My Job.
So with that one, I've read the manga, I think, up to volume 9 or 10. So I do know quite a bit about it. I just think that at the end of the day, the production of it was okay, and it's just not worth really going over, especially if there isn't anything to really go home about compared to, let's say, something like recently we have the Reincarnated Princess Genius Lady, whereas that one is like I felt the need to really advocate for.
Yeah. Other stuff we won't be talking about, Smartphone Isekai Season 2, because fuck Season 1. I don't think either of us are watching it. My One Hit Kill Sister, which I actually did watch episode 1 of, but there's nothing really to write home about it.
So what is it about, actually, real quick? Because I actually haven't touched it whatsoever.
Kid get hits by a truck. Ooh, spoiler. And then starts off showing all the in-world sort of like world building, skill building shows up. Oh, not a spoiler. And then for some reason the sister shows up and turns out she's fucking overpowered.
Like more than him.
She is literally the main character.
And he is the side.
But actually because of the fact that she does everything so quickly and so powerfully that people just look at him. It's like, oh, he's the main character. He's the one who destroyed the magical beast. And so the side character is actually the main character, and the main character unfortunately has to be put to the sidelines. Just because she's so OP, but people don't recognize that she's actually the one that's pulling all the strings behind the scenes. That's about it, really. It's not that interesting. Other stuff. Sorceress Stabber Orphan with an E. Doom of Dragon Sanctuary.
What a name,
I know,
dude.
it's fucking
crazy name.
Tosochu Great Mission. We're not going to be talking about Alice Gear Aegis expansion.
Which I assume is a sequel.
Probably. Forgive me if I'm not pronouncing this correctly. Kizuna no Alil or Alele. I don't know how to pronounce that. And then, of course, currently the worst scored series of this season, Opus.Colors, at a 5.30. There are a few other stuff that doesn't have scores, but they haven't released yet, or they're kid shows, and usually they don't have any ranking or rating for it. So yeah, those are the series that we won't be talking about, either because they're shit, we don't know anything about it, we didn't watch the first seasons or the second seasons prior to it, or we're just not interested and didn't feel like spending time watching it.
Because it's our show, guys. All right, let's now actually go into the shows that we are going to cover for our premieres. And let's start with the sequels that are premiering this anime season that is spring 2023.
Yep. The Ancient Magus' Bride Season 2. The Ancient Magus' Bride goes to high school or college. Which one does she actually go to?
So, Will, though, did you know it's based on the ongoing manga of the same name by Kore Yamazaki, who did the story and the art?
It is published in English by Kodansha USA as of October 2022.
No, it's actually Seven Seas Entertainment. I forgot to delete that.
Oh. Ooh. Mistakes on both other sides then.
Yeah.
Okay, but there is another change that we have observed, because whilst the first season was done by Wit Studio, the second season was done by Kafka. Currently doing pretty well. I think it's a slightly higher than the first season, currently at 8.14.
Yeah, first season is 8.06.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about like the popularity and like the membership, because of the fact that historically first seasons or the primary properties always have the most fans, and then subsequent seasons usually start like get a little bit more watered down.
I do think there are moments when rank popularity and membership numbers are something we do want to highlight, but we do understand that the spiel of it maybe not be interesting. So we'll try our.
It's hard to really talk about membership though, just because of the fact that like you can never really guarantee that someone who follows the first season is going to actively follow the second season, because the numbers just trend down. That's always been the case. Like if you look at Demon Slayer, you look at Attack on Titan, it's always like millions for the first season, and then it starts slowing down to like the low millions to like the high 100,000s, and further and further and further down.
I mean, just look at Golden Kamui.
That's just how it is, right? Even if like the raw score keeps going up, it doesn't guarantee that the popularity or the memberships are also going to be trending the same direction.
So the reason why Will mentioned school and college earlier is because in the manga, and also I've also finished the arc too, is called the college arc. Is actually called the college arc, even though it is not university college. It's just because it's like
it's just basically some weird fantasy magic school.
It's Harry Potter.
Yeah. So since Jason, basically is hardcore in his fandom for Ancient Magus' Bride, I'll let him take the spotlight first, and then I'll share my 2 cents afterwards.
So the first thing is, after the end of the college arc in the manga, I think up to a certain volume, the mangaka was like, yo, I'm just going to take a break on hiatus. So currently it is on hiatus. So I just want to just clarify that point first. And it is also so far only one cur. So I suspect
it was a double cur for the first season, right?
Correct. So I suspect, though, it might be a split cur, like Spy X Family Part 1, Part 2 type situation that they'll announce at the end.
Like we might have it like in fall 2023.
Yes. So again, this is only my own speculation with no basis, not even any rumors. It's just what I think is going to happen.
They may announce it by the end of this current season, or maybe it literally is just a 12 cur and we have to wait for a 12 episode cur and we have to wait for something else coming out in 2024. Who knows? But Jason, How do you feel that the studio did in terms of adapting Ancient Magus's Bride? Because it looked pretty sick for Wit Studio, but at least with the score being a little bit higher, do you feel that Kafka did a decent job in adapting it?
They did a very good job, but it is not Wit Studio adaptation, and I'll explain why.
It's hard to compare.
It is very hard to compare, and it's not fair. At the end of the day, I love Ancient Magus's Bride Season 2. At the end of the day, this adaptation is definitely excellent in the sense it is way above average. It is very, very good in terms of all aspects. Now, one of the things why I felt that it's just not the same as Wit, despite obviously not done by Wit because it's done by Studio Kafka, is the music. Now, one of the things that the music is actually really good in Season 2. I'm sorry, but when I watch Season 1, the music is playing all the time, everywhere. It gives you that fairy tale kind of feel. And here, where Chise goes to college, I'll just say that. I won't say what happens there. Obviously, that's spoilery, but that is the whole premise of the second season. So if you didn't care about it, well, you don't care. If you care about it, well, it's plastered literally everywhere. Trailer, promotion material. You can't dodge it, right? So I think it was good. Very, very good. And it just carries on the story. And the animation is not as fluid. The 3D in the very, very beginning, was a bit okay.
It's always the case of, I guess they got the job done,
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I really do think it is a very, very solid adaptation. Hype for what is about to happen because I know what's about to happen. I hope you like houses. I'll just say that. Harry Potter types shit.
Yeah. What I'm going to say may come off as condescending or offensive, but there really is like a means to it as well, where watching Ancient Magus's Bride, and that's kind of how I felt with the first season, is like watching paint dry. But at the end of the paint drying, you see a very magical, beautiful masterpiece. I say that in the sense that watching this is probably one of the slowest experiences you can have when watching an anime, but it's done by design. You need to be able to give it time to build out characters,
to marinate, right?
Yeah, you need to build out plots, and like when those, I wouldn't say hype moments. There's nothing really hype about Major Magus, right? But it's like it's the crescendo, right? You want to slowly let things fester and grow, and then when it actually hits that high note, you're like, ooh, wow, that actually came out perfectly.
Actually, when I think about it, you're absolutely right. I've watched both episodes that are currently out, and if I really have to condense it, the pace of it in general, at least with Ancient Magus's Bride, is extremely slow. It is a slow burn of sorts. And yeah, you can say, wow, it's about magic, so there's like crazy wondrous stuff, and that technically are wondrous stuff, but it's just not fast octane action, right? It does its own thing.
Like if you like watching Mushishi, then you know exactly how to pace yourself watching Ancient Magus's Bride. Like I think that that's the whole point in watching these shows. You don't expect to sort of power through episode to episode. Rather, you want to just slowly take in like every single line, every single detail of art, of interaction, and allow for it to grow inside you. And then when it reaches a point where everything kind of blows up, ooh, it hits good. Now,
so did you watch season 1, right?
I watched season 1, yeah.
Do you remember that a lot of action is kind of interspersed, but towards the end of the double cur, let's say it involves a certain type of mythical creature, that's when shit really hits the fan, right?
It's like every 6 to 8 episodes, there is like a good amount of action.
And blood, too.
It has it all. It's just that, it's a series that doesn't try to do more than it showcases itself as. It literally builds itself purely as a fantasy series.
But do you remember the first 2 episodes, though? Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, I remember.
And it's kind of like nothing. It's like, oh, okay, you introduce the characters, kind of lay out the groundwork. Okay, whatever, right?
Oh, the characters meet, they go somewhere, they talk a bit more. End of episode 2.
Yep.
Yeah, that's literally it.
Because they have to kind of reconstruct that where they lay out all the characters, where everyone's priorities are, their backstory, such that when shit hits the fan, because I read the manga, I know it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah. So I think sort of like general observations, and you can only go by so much because I only watched episode 1. There's only 2 episodes, which Jason has watched both of. But it's good. I think if it fits your vibe, I think it's like, you are going to enjoy it if you have watched it in the first place. If you're kind of going into this fresh and you need to start from the first season, you'll know from the get go whether you like it or not.
I think we have waited, like we as in the Ancient Magus' Bride, like
it's
fans,
six years, right?
a long ass time.
2017 was when the first season came out.
I think for one of the volumes of the college arc, they released a promo video reel that's like 2 minutes. And it's so weird that actually that arc ends up becoming literal reality. They even got Juna, who sang the first OP, and the OP in that promo video to sing for the opening of season 2. Everything is just very well done, very expected, but why change it when it ain't broke and it's so good?
Yeah. So I think if you are going into this completely fresh and new, you'll know whether you like it or not. But to those who already are fans of Ancient Magus' Bride and have been waiting for season 2 to come out, and now it's finally here, I think, Jason, you would say that like you guys are safe. This is going to be fine.
We all should shut the fuck up and just watch it and support it because it's a great time.
Yeah. What it's also a really, really fucking great time, obviously, is Demon Slayer, the Swordsmith Village arc, season 3.
Will, what is this?
Oh, you can't do this to me, Jason. You read the whole damn manga series.
Well, this time we do have Kanahana supporting.
Yeah. So
like no joke.
Yeah, I think that like the focus is not on Kanahana.
No, it's not. It's not.
But it's good to see that she's back again. She's staying active, which is fucking great news for all of us.
One thing I will say is the lead up to all this, which is several things. The first thing is the Swordsmith Village arc. Obviously, it's in the name of it. Has premiered in the movies.
Yeah, so the movie that came out fairly recently, at least in the last 2 months, essentially condensed the last couple of episodes of the previous arc, which is the Entertainment District arc, and then the first little bit of the Swordsmith Village arc. So
a little bit? I thought it was like the whole 90.
I don't know, because maybe because I mean I haven't watched the movie.
I haven't watched it either.
And when you're watching that episode, I think there are like parts of it which are like very clear that is like, oh, this is that movie magic treatment.
Oh, I see.
You
okay.
know? Especially, it's like, oh, what was that? In season 1 where they have that that fight with the drum, and the house.
Yeah, in the mansion. That everything. Okay, let's just say
it looks fan-fucking-tastic for this season.
Yeah, we just have to reorient ourselves. Get it?
Dude, yeah. There's a lot of, oh my god, I was running around in terms of like trying to trying to like take in everything from this season. Like, look, I don't think there really is much else that needs to be said about Demon Slayer because of how fucking popular it is. But like, you gotta recognize that.
Game recognized game.
UFO table just does the shit. It looks fucking amazing.
It does look fucking amazing.
It looks so goddamn good. And also, we should mention as well, because of the fact that it condenses parts of season 2 and season 3 for the movie. When you're watching this episode 1 for Demon Slayer, it is a double episode. It is like 49 minutes.
Is it 49 minutes?
Yes. The other one you're thinking of is much longer. This was only like 50.
50. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a double episode premiere, and yeah, dude, like, if you thought that you could just enjoy Demon Slayer, no, you can enjoy Demon Slayer 2 times.
Double the trouble.
The first episode is great. It's really damn good.
So yeah, that's what else is there left to say other than shit is good.
Yeah. I don't think we need to get anybody else on the hype train because it is literally the most popular anime and manga series currently. I mean, look, if you're a One Piece fan, sure, I get it too, but let's be real.
Hey, you guys got One Piece read, okay?
Yeah, no, I mean, y'all got, you guys are the top 2 dogs. That's it, straight up. the next sequel that we will go into, Jason knows very well, but I don't think he's like caught up with it, and I'm caught up episode to episode. Dr. Stone, season 3, The New World. This shit is great. I guess we have to go into some...
Wait. I actually don't know if that is a copy paste.
Don't worry about it. Dude, it's Dr. Stone. It's season 3. We don't really need to talk about the mouse stuff anyway, because let's just go into the actual anime itself. Now, perennially, like with each previous season, it's been good, but not like amazing. I think it was like 8.0 something or 8.1 something. So clearly it is a popular series that gets rated kind of highly, but when you're watching this season, I think it was because there was like a fair enough gap between season 2 and season 3. And people were just like, you know what? We want more Dr. Stone.
Will, real quick. So if I need to watch New World, which is the kind of, what do you call it? Like a subtitle, like the Dr. Stone : New World, right? It's technically the 3rd season. Where does that special, like that 6-episode special, am I remembering that correctly?
It's a 60-minute special.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah,
that's where I got the 6 from.
It's a 1-episode thing, which actually, good thing you brought it up. You absolutely need to watch that.
Okay.
It is a canon special, and if you don't watch it, then you will... I think you probably won't miss too much, but there are introductions of certain characters that if you didn't watch the special, you'd be like, who the fuck are these people?
So it's not as bad as, let's say I didn't watch Mugen Train.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
But it is also kind of semi-mandatory. If it's almost like if you are a fan, why wouldn't you watch it prior?
Exactly. If you're already on the Dr. Stone train, why wouldn't you have known or would have wanted to watch the special?
So if I were to say, Will, I want to watch season 3, would the next question out of your mouth be, well, did you watch that 1-hour special?
Yeah, that literally. Because if you don't watch it, then you're going to be confused, at least for like the first 5 minutes. Look, if you go into it without watching the special, okay, but it'll be blatantly clear that you would need to go back and just spend an hour watching the special. I don't think you would have any problems with it because it's also good too.
So I finished only season 1 and parts of season 2, so probably can't. I mean, also, we're not gonna divulge into spoilers, but Will, does science happen?
Oh, dude, a whole lot. It's we're sounding like a broken record now, but it's like if you enjoyed the first stuff and you liked it, then like why wouldn't you enjoy the next part?
I mean, that's the whole point of sequels, right? It is the same things with the same characters, maybe a different premise or a different arc, but it's the same things that you know and love. So why not?
Senku is still that snobby fucking genius, and all the other characters are still very much the same characters. It's just seeing them do more shit with further advancements in science and technology. And I'm here for it. I really, really like it. And the score shows. I mean, 8.35 at the moment is pretty high for a Dr. Stone property, considering how low... Okay, I didn't say how low, but like the manga score is like literally a whole point under. It's like a 7.5 something, which is... Why? What the hell? Who knows? It could be the art. Could be the pacing. Could be just people don't really want to read the manga and just watch the anime.
I think that's actually just it. And also, the way that the mouse scores are for anime versus like manga, light novels, visual novels, all that, it is scored slightly different. I mean, you knew that, right? So just the member numbers alone, it's like super different comparatively proportion-wise. So
yep. Not much else needs to be said about Dr. Stone Season 3. Go watch it. Okay, if you already are on the Dr. Stone train. If you're getting fresh into it, bro, it's a good series. I really enjoy it.
If you're brave enough, though, to venture into the new world, you might have the courage to open up our next sequel, King's Ranking: Treasure Chest of Courage.
Who's colon?
It's bowel movements, bro.
There's a lot of it. Okay, so this one is a little bit kind of like, is it a sequel? Is it not?
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's actually not a sequel, but rather it's
like a spin-off?
What was that series?
Like a side quest.
It's a side quest. Did you watch the first season, like all in completion?
No.
Okay. Well, you probably wouldn't need to at least enjoy the first couple episodes of this, simply because it's the lost stories. It's the stuff that happens on the side. So like when a certain character goes on a training arc or a certain character goes on their own solo adventure, it's those stories.
Oh, I see. Oh,
Yeah.
actually, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so it kind of fills in the cracks of, giving you a more comprehensive appreciation and understanding of the events in season 1.
Right. So it kind of enhances by filling in the gaps in terms of the timeline of certain events,
Yes.
right? Or that's happened simultaneously, so to speak, right?
And so that's why, like, I can understand the score it has, of course, like, of how, like, highly coveted and rated season 1 was, right? The main series. You can probably be understandable in terms of being like, well, the score is, like, significantly lower, even though it's a 7.65, which is still a good score. And the reason for it is because not everybody's going to need to know what happens on the in-betweens of season 1. Like, I get that there are people who just want, like, straight up action, just keep the story progressing. They don't want to do side quests. The thing is, though, like, and this is just like an aside, whenever I play video games, I know there's a main quest line. I don't do that shit for like the first 100 hours. I literally do every other side quest there is first that I can get to, and then go back to the main quest. This is essentially what Treasure Chest of Courage is. If you really want to know more about Boji's ascension to the throne, or more about Kage's family history, or all the other characters that are involved in the main series, this would be something that you can enjoy watching. If, however, you want advancement in the plot and more world building, character building, there will be some character building, but it won't be to the point where, like, it's giving you more indication of what happens beyond season 1.
So it is more conventional of a special / OVA type than actually mandatory viewing. Like,
Yeah.
it enhances, but it is not mandatory.
It's also why it's like, at least from the beginning, it wasn't billed as like second season or part 2. It was literally just like main name, King's Ranking, or Ranking of Kings, and then the subtitle. So, like,
10 episodes though is still quite hefty.
yeah. Actually, it's kind of like they had that sort of Lost Stories format for Dorohedoro. They had like a 6-episode like special, which basically was like in between stories of season 1. Some of which were like probably didn't really enhance the plot. They were more kind of like aloof side
Like
stories,
goofing around.
Yeah, and not to say that like this is what Treasure Chest of Courage is trying to do. Is it mandatory viewing? Not necessarily, but if you want to understand more about the lore and the characters behind season 1, watch it. I think it's definitely worth checking out. It may not be your thing, though.
Do you think that the production quality that Wit Studio is known to be is very, very much here?
It's still there. It's still very much there.
So
the
I
one
would
thing
not
I would be a little bit disappointed in, though, is that like I really like the opening music, both opening music for
that. I mean, I agree. Those two opening soundtracks.
OP2 was fucking amazing.
I like that, but I think OP1 is just like, I'm just
it's
gonna walk too.
You want to skip to the beat,
I'm
right?
gonna take a walk too.
I mean, Boji literally walks to the beat as well.
Whereas the second one, I am gonna grab a fucking sword
or
out of the stone and start wrecking
or
shit.
a club and just wreck shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's great. Overall, enjoyable. I think that the score it has, the 7.65, is apt. It's
Wait,
fine
really?
where it is.
Oh shit!
No, because it's still good. It's still good, but it's not amazing, right?
Right.
It's very much like, if you want people to check this out, you would have already watched Boji in season 1 and enjoy like all the extra stuff that he does.
So the Wit Studio production did not dip whatsoever, right?
No, I think they poured their efforts into it, and it shows. It still looks good. It sounds good, but it's noticeable that this is not going to be something that further pushes that appreciation in terms of like growing the story.
So it's like season 1.5, kind of?
Yeah, kind of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So sounds like that means more King's Ranking for you to watch.
Exactly. And in a way, maybe it's just to sort of hype you up and get you ready for season 2, which
they must announce at the end of this, right? They have to.
Yeah. So I'm going to leave the last one for you because I haven't watched season 1 at all, but I know that it is highly coveted, very popular. Talking about Tonikawa, season 2.
Yep, Over the Moon for You season 2 based on the manga Fly Me to the Moon, just so that like there's no confusion there. It's obviously probably one of, I would say, the most like critically acclaimed Crunchyroll original, which is kind of like their Netflix exclusive, their Crunchyroll exclusives. What else is there to say other than Nasa being lovey-dovey? The couple is just lovey-dovey shit. That's it. That's literally it. It's just really good. Episode 0, which they kind of had a special for, involves uniforms, let's just say. Very, very cute. Very, very dumb, but just fluffy. First episode, very fluffy. I don't know what else is there to say. Well, it's just really good. Same shit, different day, but best possible way. Really. That's it.
So 7.9 for the first season, 8.04 currently. I think there's 2 episodes out for it, right? Or is it just one?
I think as of recording today, the next episode gets released. So episode 0 is like their special.
0. Okay. So like the in-betweens to get you ready for season 2,
yeah,
basically.
I think it was released slightly earlier, but then they just somehow labeled it episode 0.
Right. Well, 7.9 through to an 8.04, a slight bump, but a good bump. It's in the 8 territory now. Do you think it shows? Do you think it's like worthy of being at least in the 8 to 8.99 category?
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that it has firmly established itself in terms of production quality and the vibe and the tone, it's almost as if you watch if you were to splice the whole thing in and binge it from the first episode of the first season, it makes almost zero difference, almost.
Right. So this is for, of course, fans who have already watched Tonikawa, and I'm assuming the specials that came in between. What about fresh faces, people who have no Tonikawa exposure?
Yeah, don't watch this. Watch season 1, please.
No, that's what I mean. It's like, do you think that this is worth people just jumping on the train and starting from ground zero?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I've been advocating that, and I think Crunchyroll's, this is one of their wins. I mean, obviously they have other shows
probably
too.
their only win in terms of like originals at this stage.
I think the other one, I would say Inspector is like kinda. I do have a soft spot for Inspector.
Tower of God.
Yeah, season 2 is coming.
Tower of God season 1 was okay. It was pretty good. I mean, at least like the fight sequences were great.
Bam.
Yeah. Bam, bam, bam. Problem was, of course, is the pacing. The pacing was atrocious.
I still am sympathetic to God of High School. I'm not that sympathetic, but like the fact that the hate is so too much, in my opinion.
But fuck Noblesse, right?
Noblesse, whatever. Yeah, sure. I don't care. But Over the Moon for You is very good.
Right.
That's it.
I think we're going to be taking a quick break now. We've covered.
Wait, are we though? Because Will, there is actually something I do want to talk about.
Right.
Before we get into our break. Don't we make a bet every season?
Yeah.
Do you want to know how we're faring right now?
No.
As of recording?
I think you're the only one that cares at the moment.
Yeah, okay.
Especially because you have a 5-0 winning streak right now. Like, what am I supposed to say? I don't care. One, I don't. One, I can't, and one, I won't. Like, it's just whatever. Like, I think because you have Oshi no Ko, right?
Honestly, if it wasn't for Oshi no Ko, we would have been neck and neck, and it would actually legitimately have been pretty dope.
Yeah. The only problem, of course, is the fact that if you look at the score breakdown, the stats breakdown for Oshi no Ko, despite only having 200,000 members, basically, like, which is kind of like indicative as well. Only like 7,000 fans actually submitted a score, but 60 to 70% of them gave it a 10, and then it kind of trickles down. Like it's significantly more people giving it a 10 out of 10 as opposed to people giving it a 9 out of 10. I get it. First episode hype, and to be fair, that was a very, very good episode. Not to mention in terms of like the way it was released as well. I can get that why people are super hyped on it.
Wait, you said 5,000 to 6,000 people only rated it?
Yeah, or it could be more.
It's 56,000.
Okay. Right. But even then, though, it's like it's still very clear that there's a lot of people that just straight up just jumped on it. It's like, oh, this is the most like amazing, greatest thing ever. Let's just give it 10s. And we've talked about this before. Like with only one episode out, it's really hard to say whether it will stay like this. The fact that like we've seen the ascensions of, Love is War. We've seen the ascensions of Fruits Basket, only for them to slowly trickle back down to like being top 5, top 10 overall. I feel that because of how the first episode went down in terms of its format, in terms of its style, and in terms of how good it actually was, it'll probably stay that high for a couple weeks. But then I think once episodes 2, 3, and 4 beyond start coming out, we may see some equilibrium.
Yeah, and I do actually believe in that. I don't think the score will stray that much. Maybe right now it's a 9.32,
which is fucking stupid.
I know. I do think
it's a high 8. It's a high 8 for sure. If it was
top 20, 100%.
If it was an 8.8, 8.9, absolutely no.
Maybe even a 9.
If it was a 9 flat, I'd be okay with it.
But 9.32.
And this is not me trying to like gatekeep the rankings either. I'm not trying to say that FMA is the best overall, or Attack on Titan final season is the best overall. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, and we're not going to split hairs. Oh, you're not number 1 or number 2 or number 3. No, they're all just really good shit.
Yeah.
Okay?
I think people just need to calm down a bit. That's basically
to be very fair, and we are jumping the gun a bit, because I think this would be the last show that we talk about for the seasonal lineup, right? But so we're kind of preempting it a bit. The premiere episode is kind of different than a first episode due to its length, and
there were a couple things they cut out from it as well.
Yes.
So I think and you and I have both read enough of Oshi no Ko to know what's going to happen.
I'll just say it's a very smart move to make the first premiere episode 90 minutes and to end the first episode where it did, because that really is the perfect first episode to end in that storyline.
Yeah. Well, let's save it from there, because otherwise we will only have 45 minutes to talk about Oshi no Ko.
All right.
No, I mean, legitimately, I feel like if we kept going, we could talk about Oshi no Ko for another hour, because goddamn, there's a lot to unpack there.
But yeah, we're going to eat burgers instead.
Yeah, we're going to go on a quick break, and we'll catch you all very, very soon. Bye-bye.
Peace. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the second part, because it's not second half, because we were going to spend a lot of time talking over our main discussion topic, spring 2023 seasonal animes, the new shows. We just went over the sequels and what our general thoughts were. Will is here. He is pensive, trying to debate. He's looking...
I'm just trying to figure out how much time we're going to be spending on Oshi no Ko, because we spent at least 5 minutes in the first part kind of just gushing and analyzing over it, and the fact that we're supposed to be going in depth on it later on in this part of the episode, I guess that's why we've given ourselves enough time to just talk about the other series. There's a lot of stuff.
I mean, we are leaving it. We did watch a lot, and we are going to talk about a lot of different shows. I think
in total I watched 25 seasonals, something like that. I think you were somewhere thereabouts as well.
I think a bit lesser, but we usually cover that many premieres to then narrow it down by we only cut some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I know we put Oshi no Ko to last on purpose based on what you said, right? If it comes down to it, I only just spitballing here, maybe we separate into its own thing. I don't know. But nonetheless, we will go over everything else before that first, right?
I think for sure we'll talk about Oshi no Ko. It's just more a matter of, there's a lot to break down here.
Yeah.
But
we predicted this too, right?
We had to start somewhere. So, we didn't really discuss the order in which we're going to be discussing these series.
But
so
let me tell you,
we could just go by order of what's written on our docket.
Do you want to do that?
That will probably be the most straightforward. We don't have to bounce around. It'll just be more straightforward. So I'm glad that we're going to start off with a banger.
Okay, so the first new show that we're going to talk about for spring 2023 is Quintessential Quintuplets. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I misspoke. It is the Café, Terrace, and its goddesses based on.
It's not Quintessential Quintuplets.
The Diner edition? No.
There's 5 of them.
I know.
They're all hot.
And they're all Dera types. But no, this is actually Café Terraces and its goddesses, Will.
Yep. So it's based on the ongoing manga of the same name by Koji Seo, done both the art and the story, published in English by Kodansha USA as of October 2022. Tezuka Productions, the studio behind this. Let's just get it out there. It looks good because the fact that pair of specific things.
Actually, 5 pairs of specific things, I guess.
Panties,
I forgot
right?
to...
5 panties.
Yeah.
I think at the moment the score is like a 7.15.
1.5.
Yeah, 7.15. Oh, wait, that low? I thought it was a 7.2 yesterday.
It kind of dropped, I guess.
Damn.
So
okay.
the storyline is... We're going to give you a plot synopsis.
Yeah. Main character discovers that his grandmother has passed away, but left behind an old property under his name, which turns out to be a beachside villa/cafe. Walks inside,
which he grew up in.
Yes, so he has fond memories, but unfortunately, because he was a bit of a dick, there's a little air of like resentment, hate in this so-called piece of shit.
And to be very fair to him, when you go to Tokyo University, that's not necessarily the worst reason, which is essentially the Harvard of Japan.
Yeah, I think for him it was very much like, and this is like not going to be like story breaking like spoiler shit.
Oh yeah,
it's just basically he was a young kid who grew up poor and wanted to do the best he can to be able to make a shit ton of money. Right, standard.
Yeah, I think going back off of that, disclaimers. We will not spoil anything that we feel will not be spoiled, and not promotional material in general. If we do think that we're inching close to that, we will give you warning and timestamps.
Or we'll rein it in, and we'll just be like, you know what, that's a bit too much spoiler. We'll just say, we'll just leave it at that.
So just say like we call each other out if we even come close to that, right?
Yeah.
If right. But it's very easy to tell you that Café Terraces and its goddesses is essentially quintessential quintuplets, because think about the male main character being kind of smart, which he is in both cases, has to manage or take care of 5 twins in quintessential quintuplets, but here's just 5 girls, all adults, which is kind of refreshing, actually.
Yeah.
But, of course, you get...
Well, 2 of them are seniors in high school.
Okay, yeah. To be fair, yes.
But
they get sodas fine while everyone gets drunk, though.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing. This is basically the Sailor Squad.
Yeah, and I don't think it is spoilery. In fact, I would say it is a good thing that we tell you the 5 types of girls that are present in the anime. So then you will be like, oh, okay, I know what I want or what I'm into.
You got the green-haired Dandere, the blue-haired ditzy sporty one.
You get the red-haired tsundere.
You also have the short blonde-haired kudere.
Fucking hot.
Smoking hot.
Fucking hot.
And then the other one is just like, it's kind of like an amalgamation of all of them.
And like a playgirl?
Yeah, she's like
sociable type,
social butterfly. She's not full-on tsundere, but she'll punch you in the face if she needs to. She's just, just a chick, dude.
And they live all under one roof. And guess what?
They all have fat titties.
And also, they decide to not sell the diner, which is what the male main character came back for.
Because guess what? If they did sell the diner, there will only be 1 episode. Job done, right? But no, there's a whole curve of it. So why would this be appealing to anybody? Well,
for the culture.
5 pairs of 2.
No, it's for the food, Will.
The food
because when you break down the cost of karage, right?
Do you like karage?
I love karage.
Do you like karage when it's burnt to a crisp?
No, I don't. But I do know that the calculations and profit margins given by the male main character.
Yeah, dude. So here's the thing, right? I think I've talked to you about it before in the previous episode, where like there are certain types of series where like if you even like spoil anything, it actually doesn't impact your appreciation of the series.
In fact, I would say it tells you exactly what you want, so you know to watch it or not.
You see it for your own eyes. And this is exactly what the Café Terrace and its goddesses is all about, right? It leaves nothing to the imagination. Well, maybe outside of a little bit of censorship, but even then, they're pretty cheeky with how they censor stuff. So it's glorious. Look, like we're probably sounding like a pair of horn dogs, and guess what? Kind of are sometimes. Like, what are we gonna do about it? But like that's the whole point in watching. The fact that the biggest tag on Café Terrace is ecchi, like you know damn well what you're watching here. You're not watching it for the plot, right?
well, you're watching it for the plot.
To be fair, though, not the quote unquote plot, but the actual plot, yeah, it's good. I mean, it's very standard, right? Like basically like
Underdog story, essentially, right?
yeah, it's just the unappreciative, brooding male character comes into some wealth or property and doesn't really know what to do with it because he holds some resentment for the predecessor, but then he meets, 5 wonderfully beautiful but very argumentative women who
Probably all vie for their attention at some point.
Because that's how things go. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it is the fact that 2 words ecchi and harem are tags as themes and genres on the series.
No, it's gourmet, right? Because they own a diner,
that's true.
right?
There's also gourmet in there. There's comedy. There's romance. Let's not forget about the rom-com, right? No. This is just ecchi trash. It's good. It's absolutely fine. And I think that like when you see the Mal score of 7.15, right?
7.14 now. Shit, I just clicked on it.
Damn. People didn't enjoy the second episode then because I only just released this morning.
Yeah. I think a very good summation, at least from my perspective, is the production is actually very standard, above average,
It's not that different from other Tezuka Productions stuff. Basically.
So it's not only very watchable, but it does its job well. I know that may sound slightly condescending. I don't mean it like that. I mean it in the sense that there is no fault in the production. There's nothing to go apeshit about, but it's just good.
Like, yeah, if it's good enough, it's good enough. You don't need to expect more of it. And if you do, then fine.
Then watch Demon Slayer.
Take your expectations somewhere else. You know?
Don't expect UFO table level quality, Kyo Annie level quality in a Tezuka production harem show about 5 girls and a dude trying to make it out in a diner.
And bang. Yeah. I mean, it has it all in an ecchi harem. I think that like, if that's
you get all your data types.
You literally, you have the whole slew of girls that you want to like root for. You have a main character, a male character in the harem that's not bad. I actually quite like this male character because he's not dense, he's not naive, he's not unassuming. He's just straight up just going in there, be a dick to everybody, and stand his ground, and then you slowly pick away at his ice cold heart.
So the Quintessential Quintuplets, I think, is the show that probably will come to a lot of people's minds when they see this. Actually, it is not affiliated with him whatsoever, but his former assistant made another manga called Tying the Knot with the Amayagi Sisters or something about shrine maidens, very much in the same vein. That's why I first thought, oh, this was his work, but it isn't. But it is very much one of those. That's essentially it. Exactly everything that you would expect. So I think this is a good 7.5, but probably more 7 than 8, and I don't think it will.
And it's not a bad thing either. 7 is like good. This is like you can still enjoy this. Just don't expect like movie quality animation because it doesn't call for it at all. If you expect it from that, then no, like you're crazy.
Here is the last thing I will say. They all wear maid outfits.
I thought for a minute you're gonna say they weigh what? You know their weights?
Anyways, if you've thought of reasons why you would ever want to leave your house, well, maybe you should tell the heroine of our next show why she should probably not stay at home all the damn time. Because the reason why Raeliana ended up at the Duke's Mansion is our next seasonal pick that we're going to talk about based on the ongoing manhwa, Korean manhwa of the same name by Micha, who did the story, and Gorai, who did the art, published in English by Tappy Tunes since November 2nd, 2018, and published in English by Yen Press since June of 2022. Produced by Typhoon Graphics.
Yeah. So, never heard of this studio.
Yep. Anime got a 7.48.
Which is decent.
Yeah.
Like, super, super decent.
The manga, though, I have to say, 8.03.
The manhwa.
The manhwa. Fuck.
Oosh.
Sorry.
So there's 2 things that... well, one thing, actually, specifically need to clarify. Because depending on which version you read or watch, the plot synopses are going to be a bit different.
I see why you said that to me, I think, this morning or yesterday, because I think I copied it from the manhwa, not the anime.
It wasn't even that. I was actually legitimately just looking at the mal entries. Whereas, like, if you read the manhwa entry, the first line is when Park Eun-ha dies in modern day Korea. Whereas you watch the anime entry when Rinko Hanasaki dies in modern day Japan. You know, we're entering a solo leveling situation here.
Essentially, the story is an isekai, and this person still retains the knowledge of a novel that she has read, and she is not the main character, but the supporting character that eventually has a certain demise. And she is like, fuck that noise. I need to do something about it. I actually know what happens, so let's
fuck shit up.
And she decides to do that. So
now, plot aside, if you just look at it from an aesthetic perspective in terms of its styling, this is Korean drama as fuck.
I also think that, and maybe I am being very pedantic and very strict about this, I do think that there's not a lot of actual animated motion.
Yep.
It's a lot of stilted, static positioning, and your mouth's moving, and that's fine. Art is okay.
A lot of anime does it as well, right? You're not like the only one that does it.
But when you make your background and the lore and the story of this manor and royalty and all these different baron classes and duke, right?
It doesn't feel very grand.
It does not. In fact, it feels almost like it just feels okay.
It's a set piece, literally. It's like when you're looking at it, it's like when you watch any Korean dramas, or to an extent some J dramas as well, it kind of follows those very particular tropes of like the backdrop with the character's head overviewing like the rest of the crowd, or looking over a terrace and seeing into like the empty sky with a shining blue moon and all that. And then they have that introspective monologue, and then all of a sudden, "Excuse me, ma'am, let me introduce myself." And you turn around and it's this brooding, black-haired, fucking suave motherfucker.
And then the internal monologue of, oh, this guy, he is this person from the novel. I remember this person does this thing. Blah, 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 blah. Then you add that on top of the fact that it's just... How do I even go about this? It is so... Like, the opening sequence, they focus on chess pieces. I don't think it's not necessarily a spoiler, right? But they zoom in on the queen, and guess who's the queen? Our main female character. Then they focus on the rook. I guess is a shining knight. I literally don't know, but that's my guess. Then who has the king? Oh, yeah. And it's just like very in your face, very melodramatic, very akin to K-drama.
Now, we're not, like, shitting on K-dramas.
No.
Far from it, right? Like, just because we don't watch a lot of it doesn't mean that, like, they're not good.
Nor
right?
does that mean we don't know about it, because we actually have one or two friends is like the polar, obsessive K-drama, K-pop.
They've got the good K-drama palette, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've watched a fair amount of K-dramas in the past as well. It's not like I am completely foreign to it. It's just not always my cup of tea.
And I read webtoons and Tappy Toon stuff.
So it's not like we are like trying to bash on that part of the culture. It's more just, it's not something that we are, particularly well versed in, and we focus more on the Japanese stuff, right? And also, we're not supporting Japanese dramas, because goddamn, there are a lot of terrible Japanese dramas. Some good ones though. I mentioned in the previous episode how much I love First Love. That one's amazing. But like back onto Raeliana, it presents itself well aesthetically, but I think it just is a bit too tropey for me. It's very slow with not a whole lot of reward, and the way that the characters move and talk and interact, it feels like it's better suited in a live action. The only thing that holds it back from being a live action, I guess, is the time it sets in and the costume designs they have to use, right? I feel like if it was in a modern setting, absolutely would be a K-drama, like a live action K-drama.
I think it's a solid 7. I have not read the manhwa that it is based off of, but an 8.03 manhwa score is very good. So that means there has to be something there that is not shown, at least in the first episode or two of the anime, so you gotta forgive us somehow. We only gonna get based off of what we're seeing. I'm not impressed, but I'm also like, hey, if it's your thing, it's your thing. It's just a very okay show.
Yep. Moving on to the next one, which we kind of alluded to in our ASAP 2, that whilst it looks okay, the vibe that we got from it was just not like really our vibe. The Dangers in My Heart.
Based off of the ongoing manga of the same name by Norio Sakurai. Oh yeah, who did the story and the art, published in English by Seven Seas Entertainment, produced by Shin Animation.
Now, I think that the raw score for it is like a 7.04.
Yeah.
Yeah, so not off okay, again, 7s are good scores. But I think it's because of the fact that averages out. There were a lot of people that felt that it was more in the 6 and 5 category and below.
I don't think it's that bad.
It's not bad, but I think that it's because the premise is still, I mean, it's the same thing, right? It's adapting from the source, and what we said about the source was that the main character comes off as a bit like vindictive, evil, even incel-y. And it was just like a vibe that felt very toxic and uncomfortable.
I would even go a step further. I don't think incels is accurate per se. I think in terms of serial killer vibes is more accurate. Now, is that actually representative of the character in the anime? No. But it is very off-putting. And when you hear constantly by people like Nagatoro-san's like, hey, it actually gets better or it gets more wholesome, which to my knowledge is very true of Dangers in My Heart, I am not going to wait for that moment. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's all right.
Another thing I want to get off my chest as well is that it's Shin Animation, which have done pretty good stuff.
Hey, I think Teasing Master Takagi-san legitimately looks really good.
However, and this is just my opinion, I don't like the character designs.
Okay, so if you look at the manga for Yoko Yamada, right?
Yeah.
No, Anna Yamada.
She looks very lumpy in the anime. You know what I mean?
Oh wait, I thought it was like the other way around. I thought the way that she was looked in the manga was more. She looks more
curvaceous.
Yes.
Okay.
And in the anime, it looks different. It gives me a different vibe. Like she is not kind of like this ditzy kind of girl. It's like it just has this weird difference in me for some reason.
For me, it just felt like the characters' heads are a lot smaller than they should be because it's like their shoulders are like round and bulbous and their legs are the same. Of course, the main character dude, whatever his name is, Ichikawa. Yeah, he's like, Kyotaro Ichikawa. It's like he still is like a lanky beanpole, whereas like all the other characters seem a bit more like bloated. I don't know. It was just like a minor observation. I'm not.
Is it
like,
because of what happened in the library? During one of the first episodes, right?
Yeah.
In the first episode, yeah.
Exactly. And this is not me like body shaming or trying to like endorse like body dysmorphia and whatnot.
No, but I do think that the fact that both of us have this idea that what is drawn and depicted in the manga is slightly different in the anime adaptation.
It's so slight, but it irks me a bit.
It does irk me a lot. Storyline-wise, it's almost like panel for panel, word for word, exactly the same. Nothing to really cry home about there. I'm not saying it's a bad show. I'm just saying that
you could use your time elsewhere.
Yeah, I am slightly not. I'm actually not slightly. I'm not surprised at the way that it turned out for the anime adaptation.
Right.
And if it ends up, going on a trend towards a higher score due to more plot development, due to it being more fluffy, as people tend to say. I mean, what was it on the manga ga sugoi? This manga is awesome. It won like top 5.
Kono manga wa sugoi.
Yeah, in terms of like male readers. We talked about it for ASAP too, like readers for adaptation and stuff like that. So it's at least on a lot of people's radars.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't fully endorse it. I won't fault you for wanting to watch The Dangers in My Heart. I just feel that there's other stuff that you could be spending your time on.
7.02.
Oh, okay. So drop by 0.02. Or maybe it was always 7.02. All right. Okay. Now, the next one that, as we talked about The Adventures of My Heart in ASAP 2, the manga form, there was another series in manga form that we could have actually discussed during the ASAP 2 as well, which is Loving Yamada-kun at level 999. So this is a manga series ongoing that's of the same name by Mashiro. Story and art done by the same person. Published in English by Mangamo. And this was the interesting thing. Produced by Madhouse. I gotta say, does it look like Madhouse? Does it?
Has an anime score of 7.69.
Nice.
And has a manga score of 7.64. So
pretty consistent.
Very consistent. I have to say, if I would need to condense this in one sentence, it is, if you were to take my Dress Up Darling minus the ecchi, but add a bit more fluffiness and video games.
Yeah, throw in an MMORPG in there.
You have Yamada level 999.
You kind of switch the roles a little bit.
Yeah. Where the guy is kind of this stoic.
He's a recluse.
Yes, but is really good at being a pro gamer.
And surprisingly hot as fuck.
Also might have a bit of a soft spot for our...
Ooh, find out in the next episode kind of thing, And I think look, I think that this is very cute, very fluffy. It's fun that we're talking about anime, which is part of the nerd culture, and then we throw in an MMORPG in there, which is like very deeply entrenched in the nerd culture. It's just a fucking nerdy show.
And I like Akane a lot. I think her monologue, her thought process, is very fun to follow along with. The animation changes art styles from its kind of more quote-unquote realistic to kind of like chibi, cartoony, comical expressions. They blend that in very well. It is very much kind of like Dress Up Darling. I know I personally would consider Dress Up Darling a lot more superior in a lot of ways, but I think Yamada 999 is also very, very good. I think I would give it an 8 for sure. I will definitely be watching it all the way till the end of the season.
Yeah, I think it still comes with a bit of a caveat, though, in that, like, with these kinds of rom-coms, they come in so many different flavors that you just have to see if this is the one for you. Like, there's a lot to pick from, not just from this season, but the previous seasons as well, because a lot of them kind of follow that similar opposites attract kind of vibe.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. I think that's a very common theme, but
you've got the exuberant kid that's down in the dumps meeting someone who is like way above your level in terms of confidence, but there's clearly something that's
also MMO level,
and there's also something that's socially awkward about them. So will the two meet? Will the two see eye to eye? Who knows? Find out. It's always that kind of vibe.
Yeah, and the last thing I will say about Yamada 999 that I really like is they're all in like university age, so it might be a bias thing because you just don't see a lot of that. It's mostly high school stuff because that's just a common anime setting for our. But when they get drunk and then they kind of was like go around, do stupid shit.
It's more applicable to people of our age where it's just like, I remember, doing stupid shit like that when I was in university. It's kind of like a lot of the high school stuff. It's like, because we don't come from like Japanese high schools, so like a lot of the stuff like student council,
like
school
the context
clubs,
of it is lost on us for sure.
Like we do have cram schools, but like the culture difference is like very stark in terms of like what cram schools we had and what cram schools they had. So when you see university and it's like there are like a few more similarities, it's easier to have an affinity to it,
and it's just different than your high school like spiel with your tropes,
it's
right?
Not always that like lovey-dovey, like love at first sight. This is more just like real world shit. You just got dumped by a boyfriend who cheated on you with a fucking MMORPG character,
and you played because he was into it. So, and then you're just like, well, I guess I'm gonna quit the game. Then one of your guildmates, Yamada, shows up.
Well, it's also really shitty as well that she plays a paladin, but she doesn't know how to take care of herself, which is like the whole role in playing a paladin in the first place. You just bubble. You just bubble and self-heal, dude.
That's also what priests do, I guess, in World of Warcraft, right?
But can they tank? You ever tanked as a holy priest?
I never played paladins because I always was horde in World of Warcraft.
Oh, yeah, you were first generation.
I played Dark Knights for my tank.
Dark Knights didn't come in until after Lich King.
Yeah, so I was a DPS warlock.
Oh, so
Undead.
you never actually played Death Knight, the class.
I did.
That came in.
That was like my secondary or
so you
third.
You quit during Wrath of Lich King?
No, Kata.
Okay.
After Kata.
Sorry, we're going into a completely different direction. But it still pertains to this world of loving Yamada-kun at level 999. Because, look, MMORPGs, romance, ditzy girl who's also like trying to restore her life after getting her heart crushed.
And has funny thoughts. And you get to hear those thoughts.
Yeah. It's just a thumbs up for me.
It's a very entertaining show.
Just one thumbs up, though. I think that there's probably other rom-coms that, are closer to my heart, but this is a good one. I would vouch for it.
Okay, comes our next seasonal, which might be our first one where we have slightly differing opinions. My Home Hero, based on the ongoing manga of the same name by Naoki Yamakawa, who did the story, and Masahi Asaki, who did the art. Published in English by Kodansha, and produced by...
It's interesting. That's
Will?
Yeah. So
we were talking Productions.
So we were talking about Tezuka earlier and how they kind of do stuff all right. My Home Hero is a little bit more divisive in this. There are two camps, one of which is, wow, this looks horrendous. How the fuck could they actually produce this shit? And the other half is, yes, it's shit, but I'm here for the plot.
Has a manga score of 7.93, popularity 733. I think that's important to mention for this anime and manga discussion, and has an Anime Mal raw score of 7.05.
Yeah, so again, it's just good, just enough to be in that bracket. So what is it all about? It follows a middle-aged salaryman named Tetsuo, who is, just navigating through life, seems to have a kind of weird, strained-ish relationship with his daughter, until one day he starts suspecting some weird shit going on, finds out that his daughter might be tangled into some gang shit. Not that she's involved, but, she's with somebody that is deeply involved with the Yakuza. And one thing leads to another. The family gets closer and closer to danger when they find out that this supposed connection to his daughter actually is a very, very deranged murderer.
So then what do? You do what a lot of people do with family members. You protect them. And sometimes that also means doing certain things that are not very kosher.
Yeah.
And then comes the aftermath, and
we're shit gets crazy. Now,
we're obviously Yakuzas are involved, so you guys can piece together what Will and I are not saying. We obviously know what the plot's about.
I mean, like, I haven't read the manga only because it only just started getting the English a month ago.
I think they released it
in February, I think.
Yeah, and then the second volume came out recently or something.
Yeah, but that's not enough for me to go by. I haven't gone around to actually getting it. But, just from simple Google searching and just looking at the images, the art style is... the difference is stark.
If you just look at the cover page, just the cover of the manga,
the
first one, Shawshank Redemption style. If
you had to look up the word seinen and if your dictionary has pictures in it, that's the kind of picture you would see. It's a very, very mature adult style kind of character aesthetic.
It looks like each panel takes fucking forever to draw.
It's very detailed. Whereas when you look at the animation quality for the anime, on the other hand,
it's bad. It's bad.
I think, look,
it's bad.
If you were to say this was produced in the 90s, yeah, I get away with it.
Oh, shit. I wouldn't go that far, but I see where you're... I definitely agree in the same vein.
It's got that old grainy texture to it. Now, when I said that there were two camps, and that one side said that this was repulsive, I don't want to watch this, it ruined the experience for me, and then the other camp, which is, yeah, it looks like shit, but I'm here for the plot, and the plot's pretty good. I think everybody is of the same vein here, where they acknowledge that it just does not look very good.
So, now that the whole internet and Will and I both agree that it does not look good, what does it have? And here is something that I am a bit iffy on, but I feel the need to say, which is the first thing is the pacing of the first episode is quite horrendous, especially in the ultra beginning when you kind of don't even know what the fuck is going on. Then you piece together what's happening. Then kind of things just happen sequentially, I guess, obviously. But it feels a bit disjointed. Like there was like, okay, I get it. This is what's going to happen. This is what's about to happen. And the main male character, the salaryman, Tetsuo, likes to read a lot of mystery and crime novels. Surprise, surprise. And uses that to his advantage.
Yeah. I think what I'll say is that, at least, I mean, I didn't read the manga, but I have, like, seen enough people on discussion boards, particularly on Mal, sort of like, interject on people saying that the pacing was really off. It doesn't, like, go that far off on how it's portrayed in the manga. I think it's just the fact that with adaptations, not everything is done frame for frame. There's going to be a few things that are like out of place. There's going to be certain things that are done longer and done shorter. I think it's just that with a manga, you can kind of streamline certain things and move from point A to point B really quickly. In anime, you literally have like seconds, minutes to actually adhere to.
And to be fair, it is not like, it is akin to when I watched like the first, like let's say half of the first episode. I finished all of it, obviously. But when I watched the first half, it was a bit of like, I just joined in on a watch-a-thon somewhere in the middle, but everything thereafter makes sense to me. So it's not like it was hard to follow, but it felt kind of awkward.
You were literally thrown in the middle of like a busy street, not really knowing what the fuck's going on, and then you realize this is the beginning of your journey.
Yeah, but there's no thought process like, oh, where am I? What am I doing? It's just as if like, why didn't you know about this? But not in a condescending way. It was just unassuming that they thought like,
well, I mean, it was just the way that it was directed, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's literally frame for frame how each sequence of events plays out.
And the last thing that I would say is, I would say towards the end of the first episode, there were several moments of, let's say, tense, quote-unquote, tense moments. I did not feel tense whatsoever. It's supposed to be tense, and I believe it should be tense.
I think it just came down to the animation.
The direction as well.
The aesthetic was, like, a big culprit in it, in that, like, it didn't give you enough visual tension. And the fact, like you said, right, in terms of how it was paced as well, certain things just took way too long. And usually it's like, when you give something enough time, you let that tension build up. But because of the fact that a lot of it was kind of mishandled, you never really had a consistent emotion watching it.
And I think with the manga, you could flip back and forth and really not pay a second thought to it. But with the anime, it's just because it's a different medium, the adaptation process, this made me remember again, spoiler alert, duh, Jason, but anime adaptations actually, for a lot of them, is not an easy, like, one-to-one regurgitation.
I think it's also the fact that because it's a seinen, that they have a few more bits of red tape that they have to adhere to, where they can't be as flexible with like certain themes. I understand, like, well, of course, like, but like there's just as much violence and gore and shonen and stuff, right? I think it's that's not what I'm trying to get at, though.
Like the scene at the diner at the very beginning, it doesn't take a fucking genius to piece together what is happening off screen or behind the scenes, right? Yeah. But they portray it in such a way that I just didn't give a shit. Although I knew exactly what was going on, I'm not condoning any of that, but I just don't give a shit in terms of the characters. I just don't buy it in a way, you know what I mean?
I think, like, you know, when it comes to sort of like building that tension, it's very easy to animate violence and action, but it's not easy to animate suspense and tension.
Yeah.
And so that's where, like, I think my
like
home
a direction
where I think that's exactly it, right? I think that's what my home hero falls victim to. That it's just a victim of circumstance.
Yeah.
Because for me, I wouldn't say I thoroughly enjoyed it. I like the way that it tries to portray these rather unhinged characters, how a lot of things are happening, and when you really think about it, right, the certain actions that the characters make, you're just like, why the fuck are they so cool with this?
So, yeah, especially, let's say, the wife is very chilled about the situation that I think under normal circumstances no one will be that chilled. But a thought popped into my mind. I think My Home Hero would be a lot better as a live action
Yeah, that's what I wanted to get to as well. I think that like there are certain more mature themed like seinen series that had it been a live action, it would be much easier to sort of create that level of suspense and tension through
And that
cinematography.
relatability, because it is real people kind of, obviously they're acting, but you know what I mean, right?
I think like especially when like you do suspense, like having silence is key. And when you're doing animation, it's actually kind of jarring to have silent frames.
Yeah.
Whereas with like live action, you could have like whole 5-10 minute like nonstop slides of just emptiness. And it will help to actually be more hair raising tension. It doesn't have that same effect though when you do, at least for the most part in animation.
Yeah, last thing I'll say is when the production in terms of how it looks is kind of okay, maybe it's a broad stroke to say this, but universally it seems everyone agrees that it's not great, right?
Yeah.
The suspension of disbelief that you have to accept in order to be invested in the tension or buy into the tension is that much harder.
When you can't immerse into what you're seeing.
Exactly. So I don't think though it deserves a 7.05 or 04.
It could be it could be a little bit higher, I think, for me.
Yeah,
It-
like
just
like
because,
a 2.
because the plot itself is good. I actually do like the plot. I like that the fact that
It's simple, but it's good.
and I like that the characters are all fucked up.
Yeah, especially let's say multiple phone calls.
Yeah.
That, I mean, it's just such a simple thing, interaction, and actually it wasn't the whole point of that scene, but it just encapsulates, oh, this is who this person kind of is, what he is portraying or saying, and that's fucked up.
I think the other thing as well, one last observation, which I kind of agree with for the most part from all the other discussion threads. I don't think the voice acting was that good.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't. And I think the mom was both accurate in the portrayal, but not good enough for me to buy into the portrayal in a way.
I think it's one of those where you have to watch more episodes to really know how fucked up the world is. It's like you know how like Monster from the get go, literally from like the first 2-3 chapters. Oh fuck, shit is
Stakes are high, dude.
Whereas this one, it's like the stakes are high, but I feel like I can just chill a little bit and see where this is going. Like Monster, like literally pound to pound. You're like fuck.
Yeah,
What's
just be careful when you cut cakes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, on to our next seasonal, which is probably one of the shows that I'm most looking forward to, is none other than ASAP2 Skip and Loafer, based on the ongoing manga of the same name by Misaki Takamatsu, who did the story and the art, published in English by Seven Seas Entertainment, produced by Buddy Daddy's well-known progressive artists' works, PA Works.
You know what's absolutely criminal about this? It's not an 8.
It's a 7.99, though.
Dude, not enough. It's got to be higher than that. It is good.
The manga mouse score, we have talked about it on our ASAP2, 8.33, popularity 258, rank 258, sorry.
And at the same time, synopsis, we've talked about it already we talked at length about it on ASAP2. So
Also not the point.
Yeah, rather than talking about what the anime is, let's just talk about how we feel about the anime adaptation, because I'm very happy with how it was made.
So first of all, I actually re-listened to our ASAP2, Will. We said something about music was a very big factor that at that time we were like trying to convince our listeners. Obviously, we don't know your reactions to it, but we were convinced at least that music is a very important component of the anime adaptation. And guess what? It's everywhere.
It works.
It's great.
The voice acting is perfect.
It's great.
The character designs are faithful to the manga.
The color palette is great.
Skip and Loafer does not skip a beat at all. I think that the
But
adaptation
it
is...
skipped a beat in my heart, bro. Boom.
But you're satisfied, right, with how it got adapted? Or anything at all you feel that, maybe that's why it's not an 8 yet? It's very close to it, but it seems that there's not as many people impressed by it.
I think one of the reasons why the manga is so highly rated when the anime is currently not as highly rated is because 2 episodes in, you're not going to get to the kudere, you're not going to get to the red-haired girl, you're not really going to know that much about the other characters that build up the cast of characters, the ensemble cast that is Skip and Loafer, that really makes us very invested in Skip and Loafer.
Yeah, there's not enough people yet.
I mean, they're technically all there.
What do you think of the pacing, actually? Because I think it's like from the first 2 episodes, it pretty much covered, I think, like 15.
A lot.
15,
so I did want to talk about that.
Yeah, maybe 15 to 20 chapters.
They go way fast. It doesn't feel that way, but on the other hand, it also is very... it doesn't take its time, but it also does. I don't know how else
to call it fast-paced is
not
right,
accurate.
But it's like when you're reading the manga, you can sit back and enjoy the slow ascension of the main character navigating her life from her little boony town in Hokkaido and enjoying life in the big city. Whereas like when you're watching the anime, yes, it's all preset to being 25 minutes from beginning to end, but like you don't really have much of a choice in terms of how slowly or how quickly, and that's just anime, right? It's all fixed time. But it just felt that maybe they are working to try and cram as much content as possible into one curve
to get to the good shit, which is, to be fair, towards like later on, right? So I think the her being late to school on the first day is not a spoilery per se. Especially saying that is also not a spoiler. They did that sequence justice. I think Nao-chan, the aunt, is portrayed very well, and they alluded to that in the second episode slightly, which is exactly... It pays attention to it, but it's kind of not the main topic of discussion, but they treat it with respect. Everything I have nothing bad to say about it. Yeah,
I think that like the voice actors they picked for every role, perfect.
Solid.
It works out very, very well.
I don't think it's a 9.
Oh, I mean, far from it. I don't think it's a 9 yet. I mean,
yes,
again, we haven't like read that far ahead to really let it take our hearts, right? Like I think like
the manga.
Yeah, I mean, how have you read the whole thing?
Well, I mean, I read like 6 volumes of it,
but I mean, like how many volumes are there total? Like double digits?
More, I guess. Actually, I'm not sure, to be honest.
But there's still a lot.
But 7 Seas, Seven Seas had only 6.
And to be fair, it's like to say that it could be a 9. Who knows? I mean, like the fact that
the manga is a 9.
The manga at the moment is like an 8.33.
Yeah,
which is like, there's definitely enough people that gave it 9s, even 10s, to even put it that much higher than an 8.
I was one of them.
Right. So I think that like
I think it's an 8.5 for sure.
Yeah. And again, it's another one of those like
because what can you do with that adaptation to really wow people? That's not even the whole thing of Skip and Loafer, right?
Well, it's the other parts that a manga can't offer. It's animation, it's color, it's speech, it's interaction,
and the music. And to be fair, all those things are actually done very, very well, very, very well.
Yeah, but not enough at the moment to give it like a score that's on par with the manga counterpart.
But still dope,
still good, right? I mean, there's no delusions as to how good it is.
That was weak, dude.
Fuck you.
All right. Probably one of the most secretive, mysterious shows of the anime season is given to Heavenly Delusions, based on the manga of the same name by Masakatsu Ishiguro, who did the story and the art, published in English by Denpa, which is a publishing company you don't hear that much about, since December 30th, 2019. And produced by Production IG.
Yep, that's right. They don't just make sports anime.
And they don't just make Ghost in the Shell. Anime has a MAL score of 8.10. The manga has a MAL score of 7.50.
Decently good.
So now we have come across a show where the secrets part of what I said in the first part of this episode needs to stick real hard, which is we really can't. The whole point is you're not supposed to. It is like the whole mystery, secretive. If you get spoiled, avoid spoilers. If you even think about watching the show, like if
go in completely
you
blind.
have to. Just don't know. The mouse score is fine. That's kosher. But beyond that, do not. I want to talk about it more in depth. But if I mention similarly shows, I worry that it will give a certain impression that would be considered spoilerish.
There's only really like 5 things you need to know about Heavenly Delusions. You need to know the name. You need to know maybe the MAL score. You need to know the studio that makes it. You need to know where to watch it, and what day it releases. That's it.
I will say, though, it is a very pleasant surprise. We have some colleagues. Well, I wouldn't say colleagues. We have podcast friends that we knew through this podcast in Taiwan, and one of our friends there would not shut up about this manga.
Yeah,
and
that was a very long Discord chain.
It was, and to be very fair to her, if you're listening, which I'm sure you will be, I am thoroughly convinced that this is a manga that I probably should not read. And I know you're going to say, what the fuck, Jason? Because the anime, I need to savor it. I need to watch it because it's actually really legitimately good.
It's good. It looks good. I mean, it's production IG. They've been consistent with how they produce their shows.
The first frame of the first episode is just tomatoes. Okay? Now, does that mean anything?
It's not a euphemism.
It's not a euphemism.
It's not a metaphor.
It's actually not necessarily a spoiler either. It's just photo. It's just like almost
red,
like photo.
Red, ripe tomatoes on the vine.
And then there's like water droplets that drop in the vine and everything. It is so vivid, colorful.
And then kids show up, and then the show starts.
Yeah. And now what else happens? You're going to have to watch it and find out. I know we're so cryptic and not saying anything.
It's literally the way to appreciate this show.
Do you remember Lost? I don't think that's spoilery per se.
Oh man, I know about the show. I never watched a single episode
right.
of it, though.
But if you know anything about the show Lost, then you will understand and appreciate how spoileries discussions can lead you down a path of ruined experiences and expectations.
It's also like if you were to say one scene from like Memento, one, it's super spoilery, but two, you also have no idea what the fuck it means because it's also cryptic as shit. This is Heavenly Delusions kind of falls under that. Not in the sense that it is like Memento, but the fact that like spoilers are bad, but even if you are spoiled, you don't know what to do with it.
Yeah. I will say, though, the production is extremely well done. Everything looks super silky smooth. It is a treat that I think this is one of those shows that if it were to build up over time, it will only gonna get awesome.
Yeah. I'm on this train. I mean, look, I've said it before, where like this is an anime series for this season that I'm probably gonna watch to the end, and I've failed to do so on a lot of series before. But no, I think this is one where like I am actually keen to keep up with because I just want to know. I just want to know what happens next. It's like watching Summertime Render.
I didn't want to. I was like hesitant to mention that show, but it is that level of. I don't know what is going on. It's really cool. I want to see the mystery unfold. Oh, what the hell's going on? Twists and turns, new questions, answers, That's exactly what it is.
I mean, guess which streaming platform both of those series are on?
I don't know, man. I should probably ask Marvel. No, wait. That's not. What is it?
You should check out with ESPN. I'm sure they'll know too.
No.
Somebody on like the Mal discussion threads is like, oh, there's supernatural mystery, suspense. They're both Disney Plus. That means they're onto the same shit. And someone's like, what the fuck does Disney Plus have to do with this?
And then guess what? Disney Plus announced same day English dubbing, I think, or something like that. And I'm just like, wow, I did not expect that either. But damn, someone at Disney Plus is only picking one anime per season, but they're all mystery suspense thrillers, and it's dope.
Yeah, they're both good. Summertime Render is fucking fantastic, and I've got high hopes for Heavenly Delusions.
What about the Tommy Time Machine Blues?
What? What's that? Never heard of that show. Is it good? Maybe I'll check it out sometime when I actually have some time. On to the next series. Now, we haven't really gotten into too many isekais. I think Raeliana was the only one so far. We're actually going to be talking about I got a cheat skill in another world and became unrivaled in the real world too.
Damn it. Wow. I did not expect that to be a title of an isekai show, Will. But did you know that they also have a short form? It's called Iseleve.
Yeah,
based on the light novel of the same name by Miku, who did the story, and Rien Kurashima, who did the art. Published in English by Yen Press, and produced by Studio
Milipensi
who
of Berserk 3D fame.
and but be also like the studio saving grace is So I'm a Spider, So What, right?
Yeah. So
which I actually like. So I'm a Spider,
here's
So
the
What.
thing. Interestingly, this one is not a super highly rated light novel.
7.04, but the anime is a 7.42. So usually the source score is in general indication of how good the anime adaptation will be, and also generally the source score is higher in general.
Most of the time, whenever you see like an isekai, the light novel version of it, the original source, is like a 7.9 all the way through up to like an 8.9.
Unless if it's real bad.
Always super high, and then the adaptations are somewhere in between, maybe a little bit worse. Whereas this is like the inverse. It's a okay score for the light novel, but a pretty decent anime score.
Will, originally, and I'm sure you're the same, we weren't going to talk about this show whatsoever. It wasn't even on our radar. Then I saw the mouse score for it around 7.3 at that time. Now it's a 7 point, and then it went to 7.5, and now 4.2. So I was like, what the fuck? How is this higher than My Home Hero at that time, by the way? And still is, but I meant...
You just have to find out.
I just had to find out, and guess what? I'm like, this actually is not that bad of a show.
Now, when you sort of go over the plot, it's just it's literally the same as every other isekai,
except it is not reincarnation.
Yeah, it's but very isekai,
very isekai.
Right? A lot of times, it's like the isekai and the reincarnation tropes are the theme and genre tags are intertwined. Not in this case. This one is
transport.
Yeah, both physically and magically.
Oh yeah, and is he overpowered as fuck? Yeah.
I mean, that's literally why you had the words cheat skill in the title, right? So Yuya, the main character,
he's just down on his luck all the time. He's been
very much like secluded, alone,
bullied,
has no one in his life,
ugly, fat, all the stuff that you would technically associate with being not great.
Which is sad because nobody sees what's within him, which is a good heart,
other than his grandpa
and
grandpapa,
and a beautiful pair of eyes too.
Yeah, very nice, beautiful.
One day he comes across a situation where a girl that he had no relation or any care for whatsoever is getting attacked, like harassed by a group of really, really brutish gang members or just shitheads in general.
Plural, by the way.
Yeah.
And
he decides, you know what? I can't take this. I got to step in, knowing full well that he's not capable of really protecting anyone because he can't even protect himself. But he does it anyway because he's got a good heart.
And guess what? What you thought might happen happens, except he doesn't die.
He just gets his ass beat. But the way they play it out,
so brutal, dude.
It literally makes it like this motherfucker
is dead.
Yeah.
But I think that's done on
by
purpose.
Design. It's done by design.
So, you thought it was reincarnation. Psych, right? So where does this isekai thing come in? Well, his only person that gives a shit about him is not his, immediate family, right? But his extended family, his grandfather.
Yeah.
So his mom and dad and stepbrothers or sisters or whatever doesn't give a shit about him.
Yeah.
But his grandfather's like his only person that gives a shit about him. And he is someone that taught what's his name? Yuya to basically be a decent person, heart of gold.
Yeah.
And left a mansion under his name because he passed away, and he kind of, Yuya is just lost because the one person that he cares about is gone.
And all he has left to show for it is the house that he was given. Then one day he finds
a room,
something in his bathroom. Accidentally falls through
it. The bathroom?
I thought it was about because he smashes.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, and he falls through, and then it's like,
that's brutal. By the way that went down too.
Yeah,
I think the blood and gore in the first episode has exceeded what I was expecting. It was just brutal.
I wouldn't say so much gore, but it was like tragically violent. A lot of it came out of like a bad place.
I would say brutal. Like the way it's like. No one
someone's already like down the dumps and you still have to do that shit on him. He's already like dead on the ground and you have to step on his face.
Now, it is edgy as fuck, but I don't think it was a turn off kind of edginess. Like it didn't.
You just wanted to show like the depravity of the people around him to sort of like really feel for this guy, to really like look at him and be like, God, I hope something good happens to this person because, man, he's been treated like dog shit. He's been run through the ringer his whole fucking life.
And then apparently that thing has been given to him and he turns his life around in a lot of ways, but yet he is still the same person. That's the whole point.
He's the same person, just hot as fuck. Just super fucking
Wait, Will,
beautiful.
didn't you say he was fat and ugly?
So that's the that's the other, transport to new world. He also transports to a new body.
Well,
Still the same dude, but it's night and day. Man's chisel as fuck, lanky, beautiful.
Was it Michelangelo, right? Statue?
Yeah, pretty much. I
Yeah.
mean, was he ever naked?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he was. He's Michelangelo as shit. Then goes back to school, and guess what? People all of a sudden are paying attention to him. People are trying to be nice to him. But they
and then we have not mentioned the show Lookism, which is another show on Netflix.
That's what I actually wanted to ask about as well.
Yeah.
Right?
I'll talk about Lookism in a future episode, all right? But you usually, when you are faced with this on your anime screen, when you watch it, like, oh, all of a sudden you're good looking, people pay attention to me. Wow, that's a very good message to send, anime. But it's funny because I don't feel that way with this show. But I also felt that somehow I just gave it a pass. I don't know why.
I think I feel like a lot of the times you feel the characters when they have that physical transformation that they kind of abuse it. They kind of use it to like their own benefit. Whereas this person, because even though he's been dealt the worst cards ever, his
self-esteem.
He never tries to, it's not one of those you give me an inch, I try and take a mile. He's not one of those like I will take more than given. He is very aware of what he's been given, and he's like, you know what? I'm still me. I'm just gonna do my thing, and it plays out nicely. Now, I've only watched 2 episodes.
Me too.
And I'm hoping that it continues that because I don't want to see this character get sullied by his ego.
And I don't want to give you this impression that Will and I have gone off quite an extensive bit about this anime, and it's like, wow, it's breaking new grounds.
We did spend quite a lot of time talking about something that really, like, it's not that unique.
But what I would say, though, is very pretty.
I
did not expect that it to be very pretty. It's extremely pretty. I don't know how else to say.
Milapensi did a good job.
And the character design, I think, is also done very well, too. So, props to you guys. I really think I don't know if I will drop the show, but I don't think it will be the first shows that I will drop, or I will revisit it later by putting it on hold.
Yeah, I think, like, in terms of the plot, it's standard. Isekai fare. You're not going to be like wowed by how unique it is, but it does the job well.
And it's overpowered. He's OP as fuck. Like within a span of like that 10 minutes that he got isekai'd, it is just, I have to pause the screen to read the subtitles of all the things that was gained or
he's still a nice guy. He's not a pompous, cocky shithead after becoming the most overpowered person in the world. Right? It's
not solo leveling guy, okay?
Yeah, it's not unique, but it still feels refreshing.
So, our next show, people do have some idea about because actually, who wrote the manga for it? Shit. Okay, My Clueless First Friend is our next show that we're going to talk about. It is based on the manga of the same name by someone that Will is going to give me shortly. Published in English by Square Enix through their web manga app Manga Up. Produced by Studio Signpost, which we have not really mentioned a lot because we don't really know much of the stuff that they've done, but we do know Kingdom Season 3 and Season 4, both of which are 8+ shows on my anime list.
Mangaka was Taku Kawamura.
Thank you. The manga has a MAL score of 7.55. Anime has a MAL score of 7.43.
5.9 now, the manga.
5.5. Oh, shit.
It jumped.
Oh, shit.
It literally just jumped.
Dude, I fucking refreshed the scores this morning, so damn,
it jumped.
Literally
within, like, the last hour.
Shit. Okay, so My Clueless First Friend is a show that I feel pretty good about, but I also think it's just a 7. Just like how earlier I think Cheat Skill Isekai, or whatever we want to call it, I would still give it a 7. I think, oh yeah, by the way, Will, Heavenly Delusions, it's kind of hard to give it a score right now, right? Like a tentative score, right?
I feel like it's like summertime render.
Yeah.
For me, it's like I want to give it an 8 right off the bat, but there's so much that has been
really?
left like unexplained or
I think it's an 8 already.
That's what, yeah. Again, it's you never know, right? It's like with summertime
Just
render
production alone.
but it's also like with summertime render, if they did not play the suspense well, it could have easily slid. Much like with Heavenly Delusions, if they don't carry the same tone throughout and keep pushing it forward,
Like if they drop the ball, yeah, that's fair.
It could derail.
That is very fair.
From an aesthetic perspective, in terms of like how they design the characters and how they move things,
I would say it's like an 8.59 actually.
It's pretty good so far. But
Okay,
back
sorry,
onto my
sorry.
Clueless first friend.
I think it's a 7, but it's an extremely strong 7.
This is where like I'm not as conflicted, but I still want to say I actually really like this.
The
I actually
story,
really like my Clueless first friend.
the story of opposites attract. You've heard it time and time again. This time you're going to hear it once more, and you're going to hear it a few more times. It's about a gloomy 5th grader who is a target of being bullied, and she is known as the Grim Reaper by, like
Literally everybody in her school.
like no hold bars. It's just like that. Oh yeah, that's your name now. Then you get the new transfer student that comes in and just fucking doesn't give a shit about that. Furthermore, loves the fact that she has this nickname called the Grim Reaper, and he's like, dude, that shit is dope. Dude, why the fuck are you called the Grim Reaper? That's hella cool. Yet, it is unfortunate that because of this bullying, the self-confidence of this young lady it just feels like, oh, she's being pandered to. She feels like it is just what it is, or don't associate yourself with me, Takeda, because the moment you do, you get branded as like the Grim Reaper curse or whatever, and you are just going to be tossed aside, and I'm better off alone and wallowing in my own filth. Don't come with me, even though I just want to have a normal school life.
Yeah. Do you know, like, I mean, obviously, there must be, like, some obvious inspiration as to where her character design came from, but do you remember the series Gekage no Kitaro?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
The umbrella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because it's all about yokai, right? Like,
Yeah.
The inspiration is clear.
Guai Tai Long.
Yeah.
That's the
Exactly.
Cantonese
It's
name.
like- exactly.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I know.
So it's like...
It is exactly like
but
that.
it's also like when you see her, she's really fucking adorable. She's just like, I'm shy, everyone hates me, but I'm going to embrace it. Wait, you like me? But you're not supposed to like me. But I kind of like that you like me. I wonder where this is going to go.
Do you know what broke my heart? I didn't bawl or I didn't like get teary-eyed, but the scene that involved the young girl and her father during the mealtime is just very indicative of just how shitty bullying is almost on every level, and being treated like she does and being hazed by everyone. The fact that she can feed the school like the fish in the classroom as like, I guess, her duty, and it for just criticized at that point to be like, oh, she's feeding them poison or whatever, or like the fact that young brats do like this, oh, barrier, I don't want to get this curse or get cooties. It's just like, bro, fuck bullying, fuck off.
Yeah, even 10-year-olds can be toxic as fuck.
Oh yeah, for sure. In fact, sometimes they are just no filter.
And because of the fact that for them, like, they don't know they're being toxic. Whereas like when it's like middle school, high school, they're a little bit more calculated in how they do this stuff, and you know that their intention is to hurt you. Whereas like young bullying, like kid bullying, they just do it because it's cool.
Then you get Takeda, the new transfer student, and I need to sort of explain something. So transfer students, obviously, you come in mid-year or whatever, where everyone makes friends, or you need to build the ground up in terms of your social circle. So you have to be very firm in the way that you portray yourself to others and blah, 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 blah.
You want to get off on the right foot.
Yeah. And then furthermore, Takeda's kind of an idiot.
He's dense.
He is dense.
Very clueless.
But he has these nuggets of wisdom or unabashed, just I don't give a shit moments that are just like, all I could do is be like, bro, respect.
Most of the time,
Mad
it's
respect.
like, yo, that girl's fucking weird. She's the Grim Reaper. Ugh, stay away. And then Takeda's like, she's the Grim Reaper? That's fucking awesome. I want to meet her.
Yeah, or it's just like, oh, do you want to be friends with her? And then he's like, wait, we're friends? That's fucking awesome. And then it's just like, God, you're so dumb, but God damn it, man, you're a fucking Chad genius, man. Like, I'm so proud of you, Takeda.
It's like, why would you want to hang out with me? People say I look weird. It's like, but you have beautiful eyes. I like your eyes. And then it's just like the reddest of reds on the little gray river's face. Like, oh,
it's an extremely cute show.
It's very adorable.
It's so cute. Now, the reason why I said I would give it a 7 is just at least based off of my initial impression. And the art style is one that is very accurate towards the manga style. And just now, Will mentioned a certain property, and that is the kind of art style that it goes for. So in that sense, it is not only very accurate depiction of that style, it's very done very well.
And I think with like the fact that this kind of trope, this kind of like character, like this plot, it exists everywhere. It's been done like for the last like decade or two. So you wouldn't be remiss for you to go in with low expectations.
And if it's a 5th grade, it involves 5th graders, so it's not high school, obviously. It's not even middle school, right? So,
but it's like it's like trying to explore like that kind of the childlike version of like unconditional love, and not like romantic love, where it's like it's caring for one another.
I mean, it could turn into some budding romance, but actually, I don't think that is doing its justice.
I wouldn't want it to go in that direction
exactly.
either. It would be really fucked up if they try and make them like a lovebird pair. It's more just like what this girl really needs is someone to care for her, and boy, that's what Takeda does.
Takeda, I think. Oh, fuck. Have I been calling it Takeda since... Oh, shit.
Since 5 minutes ago. That's all good.
I said Takeda when I... God, I need to get better glasses, Will.
The long short of it is, it's a good series. It's a decent series. I'm vouching for it more simply because I just think that the main character is, adorable as shit. But you don't have to go in with like super high expectations. Just watch, enjoy. If you don't enjoy it, there's plenty of other stuff to watch.
Bro, fuck. We're gonna go way over, but fuck it. Because it's seasonal time, right?
Yeah, so on to the next one then. Dead Mount Death Play, based on the ongoing manga of the same name by Narita Rihogo, who did the story, and Shinta Fujimoto, who did the art. English is done simultaneously through Yen Press, and there's also a digital publication for it under Manga Up by Square Enix. This is the interesting one. Produced by Geek Toys.
Has a manga art a mouse score of 7.43, but the anime has a 7.65.
Now, whenever I see Geek Toys, I am already like, we talked about it enough in our stats episode that they were not like the best studio of 2022. But
Do I think Dead Mount Death Play is a good anime? No. But is it really entertaining? Absolutely.
Okay.
Is it good? It is good, just not in the way that I would... How do I explain this? The first episode is a very solid first episode with almost the first half of the first episode one entire sequence action scene. Then you're like, oh, okay, so that was just where all the money went, right? And you're like, okay, cool. Then the second half happens. Another action scene happens that involves a new character, let's just say. Very, very interesting. Then it ends, kind of reveals kind of like the premise and the shtick, right? And you're just like, oh, fuck. This is going to be a bloodbath. This is going to be crazy.
It's a very fun anime. I was not really sure where you're going with it in the first, because I was like, no, this is good. Now I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Now
you know what I mean? Like, it's trash, but it's like the most primo trash. You know, I mean, that's not fair because I don't want to say this is like bad.
It's like Akudama Drive.
Yes. Yeah. You know what? Exactly. Right.
Yeah. And that's like the trash Akudama Drive as well. It's just like the plot is kind of like
whatever.
But what happens on screen is like, whoa, this shit is fucking awesome. And that's what Dead Mount Death Play is.
there is the word dead and death in the name of the anime, and yes, there is going to be a lot of that. Is there a lot of blood and violence and actual gore? Will, Edgelord, what is your blood, death, gore count?
I give it an A- at the moment, only because I feel like there's going to be much more bloodshed later.
Dude, I mean, let's just say the second half eventually ends in a warehouse, and there's just a monologue that is spoken by a character about the warehouse, and if you just listen to the words that are being spoken, you're just like, this is fucking crazy.
I would go so far as to say that this is probably one of the strongest contenders, if we were to, do the wrap up now, for being the most edgy show that we have for season 5.
I would say this and Drifters, but this is the cake.
But there is another series that we'll be talking about later that could potentially also, get up there too. And
yeah, but I feel that one is a bit. That's like almost like a
given.
A given.
But you can't denounce it from that either.
You're right.
It definitely does deserve a mention.
I think at the end of the day, Dead Mount Death Play is super bloody affair, but it is a bloody good time. Literally, It really is. And
just turn off your brain and watch Insanity.
There is obviously things that happen. There is a kind of a plot. Doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. I would say the 3D in this, actually, especially in the first action scene, is actually done pretty good.
It's okay.
It's actually okay. Very presentable.
And need I remind you, it's fucking Geek Toys.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Did you see the post-credit scene?
Yeah, I did. It was
kind of funny.
It was cute.
It's kind of funny.
It was actually very cute.
I was like, what the fuck? Okay, sure. Why not?
Very rare for a lot of anime nowadays to have a post-credit scene, and the fact that they did it and they did it well, like it wasn't like.
Wait, my Clueless First Friends also has a post-credit scene.
It has one too. Yeah, I did.
Very cute too.
Yeah.
I have to say, Death Mount Death Plays. I did not.
If it's not an 8, it is an incredibly fun 7 because I can.
No. It has to be an. I can't give it a 7. I think it is an 8 in my opinion, as it stands right now.
Just from the insanity that it was the first episode so far.
And I think the thought process of our male main character, because I think mentioning anything else is kind of spoilery. That's why we haven't really gone into plot details, because the fun is just kind of seeing it all unfold. Not necessarily, knowing stuff is going to ruin the experience, but just seeing it, how it pans out is cool.
It's action. It's supernatural. There's reincarnation.
There's blood.
Is it isekai? Or is it just
Yes, it is.
Yeah, isekai, right? Yeah,
yes,
definitely. But even then, there's also a little bit of mystery to it too.
Oh, yeah,
it's
quite a bit. It's got it all,
except for the romance. But you never know. You never fucking know.
No, because apparently some love for the male main character has been professed in a certain way.
Okay,
right?
We'll find out soon enough.
I am thoroughly entertained by this show, and actually, unironically, even though it wasn't on my radar to begin with, it will be on my rotation.
Now, I think we're going to be entertained by the next series, but for different reasons. We're going to do a complete 180 from the grunge, the blood, the dread, to the fluff, the cute, the quiet and wholesome. Insomniacs After School, produced by Leiden Films. It is based on the manga of the same name by Makoto Ojiro. Story and art done both by them. Published in English by Viz Media. There's also going to be a live-action film adaptation that should be set to premiere sometime this year. Now, very good stats. Amazing stats actually for the manga, as Jason's alluded to when we were trying to go through our ASAP previously. 8.52. And it is
let's say rank 120, popularity 619. I think that's important to say because it is not only popular, it's ranked really high. It's
for a manga, right?
Yes.
Now, in terms of the anime, 7.94 currently, which is very good.
Very good.
Not quite, super popular yet, but it's not as well known as like your Hell's Paradise, your Demon Slayers, and your Dr. Stones. So, I get that.
Will, I need to know what you think about it before I say how I think about it.
A whole lot of nothing happens, but again, that's kind of the point of it. It's very wholesome.
Okay,
I would say though is that because literally it's just the first episode, and not a whole lot happens. What it does really well though is that it sets the tone for what to expect for the rest of the series. I think that once you finish watching the first episode, you're just going to hit the ground running with what Insomniacs After School is supposed to be. It's a very simple premise in that you find two students who both suffer from the same ailments. They are insomniacs. They just have no way of being able to sleep during the night, but during the day they're during the day because they're super wide awake, but they're lethargic and tired all the time during the day. And they didn't realize that there was another person suffering from the same element until they coincidentally find themselves locked into
the observatory,
a mysterious observatory that has a lot of cursed shit going on.
Because the astronomy club was disbanded, so then it's kind of left as a warehouse, but it's almost like the perfect and most quiet place for you to take a nap, which is how the two main characters met. So they decided to band together of sorts and meet after school. Literally is in the title, and unironically, that literally is what happens.
Yeah. Now, in the same way that I felt about my Clueless first friend, it's another one of those like simple premise, like you legitimately like what the title is exactly what happens in the show, but that shouldn't detract you from wanting to watch it. I like it. What do I like this more than my Clueless first friend? It's they both kind of go for a similar vibe. It's just that the character types are different.
I have to be very honest. I'm not entirely sure why I really love the show. I think it's an instant 9. The vibe of it is very... Maybe because I do suffer a bit from insomnia, and it really is very atmospheric, and the music is not always there, but every time it's there, it is kind of like has some EDM, very calming. It's basically almost reminds me of Call of the Night, except it's not necessarily a wholesome romance between a middle schooler and a vampire. Here, it's just two insomniacs that kind of trying to understand one another.
And I'm glad they do it at that kind of pace as well. They don't just straight up go hard and heavy into the romance. It's like, oh, you're an insomniac? I'm an insomniac too. Oh, we should totally go out. But we won't do that for like another 10 episodes. No, this is more just like, this shit sucks. Your shit sucks. You want to take a nap? Sure, let's fucking nap.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to hang out later? Sure, let's hang out later.
Yeah. No. Like, there's nothing nefarious. There's nothing horny. I mean, there might be some uncomfortableness and nervousness because it's the opposing gender, but...
literally, that's like the first interaction, right?
But boy, is it just the most innocent, like, bro, I just want to take a nap, man. You want to take a nap too? Bro, I got you. Let's just go nap.
I vouch for it. I think it's good.
I really like the mood and the vibe. I cannot sing enough praises about Insomniacs after school. Now, I thought it wouldn't deliver.
Now we're going to go into another very dumb anime series. Too Cute Crisis.
This is a show that I originally didn't intend, and I think Will didn't intend to talk about. I watched the first episode, and I was just like, it's kind of...
Will, like, you're going to watch anime, you should at least check this out. Synergy SP is the studio that did it. It's based on the manga of the same name that's ongoing by Mitsuru Kido. Currently, no official English translation. I think the score is decent. It's like a 7.1 something or 7.0 something.
7.13.
Yeah. So it's decent. It's a good score at the moment. What is it? Well, this young woman-looking person, Lisa Luna. I say woman-looking person because she's actually not a human.
She's an alien, and she arrives on Earth because she belongs to an alien race that is basically vastly superior in almost every way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
and they were like,
she's essentially part of the Survey Corps. No relation to Attack on Titan.
Yes, and they were like, hey, what is this planet doing? Fuck it, let's just roast it. And then Lisa Luna is like, you know what? Let me just go down. Let me just survey it first before.
Let me just check one thing. Let me just have a look.
I mean, I don't know what's going on here, but let's do our due diligence, right? So she goes down.
What is this word? Café. Okay, I'll go in. Wait, what?
Oh, because I want to see what the food is like, right?
What are these small, fluffy creatures? Wait, why are they so fucking... They're so fucking cute. They're so fluffy. Why aren't you guys freaking out? They're so fucking cute.
Miss,
Look, she's looking at me. Wait, what's on her foot? Oh, a paw? Holy fuck, that's a cat paw?
Miss, could you calm down
No,
a bit?
I can't. They're so fucking adorable. And then that's basically Too Cute Crisis.
And then she meets a Shiba Inu.
There are other creatures that are really cute? Oh, you mean to tell me there's more than two? Well, hamsters are kind of cute.
Oh,
Rabbits are cute.
Wait till she goes to the fucking zoo, which is already implied in like the first episode, right?
Meanwhile, back at the space headquarters, how's that report going? Back connection, bye.
And then
And
she's
you hear a meow in the background.
okay.
That's about it, really.
I think this show is so dumb.
It's dumb as fuck.
It is a one-trick pony. But the first episode is really funny. Just watching Lisa Luna just breaking down, having a panic attack because there are all these really cute things on planet Earth.
And educational as well. They explain the different breeds of cats.
Yeah, they do. And she is just losing her mind as to apparently how primitive we humans are. But there are all these things that we associate, like we human beings associate as our like day-to-day life, that is just blowing Lisa Luna's mind, and she's trying to delay the inevitable, or maybe inevitable, destruction of the planet, and all she has to do is literally report back in and say, fuck the planet up, and then that's it. But instead, it's just her losing her mind on how cute everything is around her, which is kind of adorable. But beyond that, I don't know if it is necessarily...
Does it have the legs to stand on, right?
I don't know. I don't think so.
It's like if you just watch that one episode, that should be enough. Because I don't know what else there is afterwards other than like I said, this is like I said to you off air. This is like Hinamatsuri, where instead of Salmon Row, it's cute cats.
Yeah, but I also think that the Hinamatsuri
comedy is done way better,
and also has the
and
feels.
the characters are way better.
Yeah, it has the feels.
All the feels. Bartender vibes.
Yuzu, right? As well, too,
God.
right? But here, it's just all right.
That's just it. Like, it's just literally an oblivious, destructive alien species coming into contact with very cute, adorable animals. And if that's your thing, that's your thing. I don't know if I'm going to continue watching it. I enjoyed watching the first episode, but whether I'll continue, probably not. Yeah, that's about it, really.
So the reason why, at least I wanted to mention it, is not only because I thought the first episode was at very least entertaining as fuck to watch her break down, but also if this is kind of your vibe, this is a good show to kind of invest your time every week into. That's really it. It's probably an okay 7 in my opinion.
Yeah. So I know that we have a couple of other stuff that's listed in our docket, but I want to get these two out of the way first because I feel like we don't have as much to say about them. Namely, Otaku Elf. Which is I don't know. Otaku Elf is an interesting series. Just to get some details out of the way, based on the manga of the same name, done by Akihiko Higuchi, serialized in Shonen magazine Edge, and it's done by Bibri Animation Studios, which again was not a very high performing studio in 2022. The current Mal score is a 7.20 flat. I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about the show because there's not a whole lot on offer here. It's not. It's literally about an elf who is an otaku. She's 682 years old, I think, and she's under the tutelage, under the guardianship of a young Hiko or Miko, a young Miko.
Oh, sorry, it's done by C2C.
C2C. Why does it say Bibri?
I don't know. I must have messed up there.
Whatever. C2C. So yeah, it's not spectacular. It's not. I wouldn't even say it's good. I think it's just okay.
It's okay. It's about a shrine maiden who is supposed to pander to the shrine goddess of this district, who just so happens to be an immortal elf of sorts.
Yeah, who just spends way too much time.
She's a hikikomori and a NEET.
Yeah, way too much time on like PlayStation VR,
which literally is referenced. Red Bull is referenced. Actually,
yeah.
She likes making Gundam models.
Oh, she's very good at painting them.
Very, very good.
But I think that's as far as it goes. Really,
it's just the same shtick, right?
Yeah, you're just watching an otaku show, but in a different skin. Rather than being human, they're an elf that's lived for over 600 years. I give it a pass.
I give it a pass.
The other one that I wanted to sort of get out of the way was A Galaxy Next Door. It's based on the manga of the same name by Guido Amagakude. English is done by Kodansha Asahi Production, as the studio that produced this show. Now, I, it's just very straightforward.
I read the manga. I think the manga's better. I know that sounds like very stereotypical for me to say.
Is it a pacing issue? Because it felt kind of slow.
Yes, it is a pacing issue. I think the storyline is exactly the same as you would expect from the manga to the anime.
I am a single guardian because our parents have died and I have to look after my 2 young siblings. But I'm also a hardworking mangaka and I need to hire an assistant. What's this assistant? Oh, wait a minute. This assistant is fucking beautiful.
With
fucking
mysterious
dependable.
past.
Wait a minute. What's that sticking out of her ass? Oh, and then shenanigans ensues.
Exactly. It's actually not as horny as you think, actually.
It's not. I mean, I'm using choice words for sure, but it is rather, would you say wholesome? I don't feel like there's a whole lot.
It goes there.
Yeah.
It goes to wholesomeness.
Yeah.
And I just think that it's one of those where they don't really have anything that stands out that I can say is like, oh, dude, this is fantastic.
Yep.
It's just all right. But we have it there because I thought the manga was okay.
Okay. Now, again, going to flip things a little bit because the other 3 were already mentioned in their ASAP. So, the next one we will go into will be KonoSuba, an explosion on this wonderful world, based on the completed light novel spin-off by Natsume Akatsuki, who's the story, and Kurone Mishima did the art. The parent story of KonoSuba is completed. All done by the same people, really. Currently, the MAL score is just above an 8, an 8.01. The
light novel 8.15.
Consistent. It's pretty much like what the light novel does, the anime does as well. What is it? It's a side story.
Do you like Megumi?
I like Megumi.
Do you like explosions?
If she's the one who's doing the explosion magic, then sure.
Don't you want to know how Megumi came to be?
Yeah.
Don't you want to see more about her friend Yunyun?
This is the world of Megumi and how she explores her journey to becoming the master of explosion magic.
The Crimson Order, I think, is basically it's like her backstory, her offshoot.
I gotta say, it's still cute, still funny, comedic.
I thought their PE lesson was very, very KonoSuba-esque.
I like the comment. Yeah, you can tell that this is still very much a KonoSuba thing, even though it's a side story.
No shit, guys. If you grab probably the most well-known character and most beloved character in KonoSuba, I would debate a lot of people like Aqua, but I would say people.
Well, to be fair on Mal, she is the most popular character from KonoSuba.
What, Aqua?
No, Megumin.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Far outweighs Aqua.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a loud minority. Though.
Yeah, no, but I still think that in general, Megumin is always considered the most popular one in all of KonoSuba. So guess what? When she has her own spin-off and you get the same people involved, surprise, surprise, it's going to be funny as fuck. It's going to be great, and it is great. The only reason why I don't really want to talk about it is because they do everything right. It is exactly what you expect. It is a solid 8 to 8.5.
And also, if you don't like KonoSuba, then why the fuck would you not? Why the fuck would you like this? You know,
they still retain the comedy. They still retain almost everything.
The pursuit of big boobs is very much consistent from the main story of KonoSuba to this. If that's the kind of comedy you like, that's the comedy you like.
It's poses, dude.
Yeah, that too.
It's all about the poses, man.
Yeah.
Did you know that's the whole point of magic, dude?
Isn't that the whole point of the PE class?
Yeah, it's great.
Done.
So,
one and done. Now, we're going into the hot and heavy because
the final 3.
We went hot and heavy with these 3 series when we did our ASAP.
Let's start with bronze.
Ooh, which is, I actually don't have a... You know what? For me, my bronze is Mashle.
That is mine too, because I said bronze, like brain and bronze.
Oh,
okay.
I thought you meant as in like bronze, silver, gold.
It was both.
Oh, man. Wrinkly brain you.
Yeah, it's fine. Mashle, Magic and Muscle, guys.
Stats and info? No.
Come on. Jump Plus, Manga Plus,
I will say this.
A1 Pictures, by the way.
That's what I wanted to get to. I don't think it looks as good as it should.
Correct. But before we get into that, the anime has a 7.71, manga has a 7.64, but popularity 208 for the manga. So, One of the things that I thought going into the ASAP when we talked about Mashle was I did not know how they were going to portray the comedy and the art style, because it's like a bit of One Punch Man, it's a bit of Harry Potter, it's a bit of Mob Psycho, and the deadpan comedy element, absurdity element, I don't know how it would pan out.
I think it just about did enough in anime form. I thought they could have done it better, but at the same time, I'm not an animator. I wouldn't know how to be able to create something that was done so well in the manga and put it onto a moving screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I mean, though, in terms of like the animation. It looked a little bit off.
How far into the manga have you read?
I think like 40 or 50 chapters.
So basically there are big set pieces, right?
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of like the main people from the inner circle, if you know what I mean. Like,
yes. Basically Kanohana hasn't shown up yet, right?
No, I don't think so, no.
I think she is in here. She's Lemon.
But I mean, we'll wait till that episode drops, because at the moment, from what I've seen, it's good. It's a safe, good shonen series to watch.
It's also the wackiness and absurdity, I think, is portrayed pretty well, to be fair.
However, I'm a little bit annoyed of how certain elements were not adapted in terms of like...
Oh, no, sorry. I'm not... it wasn't Kanohana. Anyways, go on.
Right. So when Mash like does his shit, usually there is like a little bit afterwards in terms of like the other magicians discussing how he went about doing certain things. They kind of left that out in the anime. You know what I mean?
I think they really like flew past it real fast.
Yeah. But that's the kind of thing that I liked in the manga, where they actually took like several panels to explain their interpretation of Mash's quote-unquote magic, but it's not there in the anime.
Well, hopefully that will show up later on. But what Will and I are... What Will's referencing is in Mashle, because funny shit happens and absurd shit happens, everyone doesn't understand what happens, except, coincidentally, always one person or like a subset, a very small minority is like, no, I saw that very clearly. Let me explain what happened. And then explains it to not only the people that they're with, but also the readers. And then you see like the bit-by-bit analysis. And that is where a lot of the comedy lies, because it's just like, how in the fuck does Mash gonna get through this?
It's like the inverse, where it's like, holy shit, that magic trick, how do they do it? And you explain it. Whereas this is like, holy shit, like this person doesn't know any fucking magic. How did the fuck they do this? And then they explain that. And I like that part in the manga. It gets kind of glossed over in the anime.
Well, to be fair, was it only 1 or 2 episodes in?
True. And at the same time, I think it's like, if there was anything to cut to be able to accommodate enough content for a season, that would be the thing to cut.
I have to say, though, A1 Pictures, this production in general is very fine, but I was expecting slightly more from A1.
It's not their best work. It's definitely not their best work.
Just think of Kaguya-sama, still very good, but it is like of that level, rather than something like Sword Art Online, where action should display the Sakuga moments, and here it's not really present.
It's not fully there
right
yet.
And I think solo leveling that will eventually done by A1, right, should be like the Sword Art Online's, right?
It
better fucking be. But it is more like Anohana level of very high quality production, just not for action. So when Magic and Mashle is supposed to be,
it seems to focus a bit more on the magic more than the muscle. It's aesthetically pretty, but some of the action sequences could be done a bit better. But look,
still good.
It's just early impressions, right?
I think it's still very much worth watching, especially if you don't know anything about it.
Absolutely worth watching.
One Punch Man, Harry Potter, very accurate.
Now, Hell's Paradise, Jigokuraku, that one is actually, like, if it weren't for another series that's we're going to be talking about later, was probably the most hype out of the new series coming out this season.
I think a lot of people realized Raku Sensei, I think what's his full name? Based on the manga of
Kaku.
Kaku.
Yeah, Yuji Kaku.
Yuji Kaku. Joshi Raku is the name of the manga, Hell's Paradise. Kaku Sensei's claim to fame before all this was the assistant of Tatsuki Fujimoto, who obviously did Chainsaw Man and a bunch of other stuff that we won't shut up about. So we were very hot on the heels of Hell's Paradise, completed 13 volumes, all on Jump Plus Manga Plus Viz Media.
It's just as dark and fucked up as Fujimoto's shit.
Bro, when I said that, the aesthetics of like the dead body with the flowers, it is so deathly beautiful and fucked up. And then
it reminded me a lot of like the Fire Punch stuff. Oh god, it's so fucking it's gruesome.
Blood and guts everywhere, but it is the first episode's done very well. I think so.
I think like especially when like the difference in terms of doing like panels on manga and doing slides and like animation through anime, like, you could definitely show like the amount of dark blood through how like black the panels are.
Yeah,
and it's done very well in Jokuraku, and that's the kind of concerns I sometimes have when trying to translate violence and gore from manga into anime. It doesn't always come off well because sometimes it's like when there's too much blood, like we've done before with violence and gore, it can look comical. No, this is beautiful.
This is just like fucking whoa. It's so gorgeous.
It was a very good first episode.
We knew that Mappa was gonna go in swinging because this is a hype property already, so we knew that this is gonna a lot of money and budget and Mappa's dedication is gonna be spent to it.
I mean, dude,
clearly shows.
Attack on Titan, Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, and now Hell's Paradise.
I'm really worried that the people at Mappa are gonna die from exhaustion, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really worried.
Either that, or they're gonna be so desensitized from seeing so much blood and gore that like they just feel numb. You know, it's like goddamn, they've been working on some very, very hardcore series.
I'm being dead serious. If you know anybody that works at the Mappa Animation Studio, please do a wellness check. Check in on them. Maybe make curry for them every once in a while. Just be nice to them because they bestow us with such beautifully violent anime, hype shows, beautiful animation. We need to make sure they are in tip-top shape and condition and just make sure they're good so then we can get good anime, great anime actually. The opening is by Millennium Parade that I love their style.
I thought it was okay.
I just like their I like their musical style.
I love Millennium. I liked them. The OP for this was it was okay. It was okay.
I can't believe I'm going to say this. I like Standalone Complex 2045's opening of better.
Yeah.
Millennium Parade's opening for that is
fan-fucking-tastic.
And this
Can't
one
say the same for the anime itself, but hey, look, we're talking about Jokuraku now. We're talking about Hell's Paradise.
Also, opening title sequence is also pretty cool too.
Yeah, true. Actually, the animation for it actually was pretty sick.
How many 360 pan arounds zooming can we get on things on fire? But sure.
How about a 3D title card as well? That shit was fucking dope. It looked way better than a PowerPoint animation.
I don't know why, but when I found out...
It was so unnecessary to do that as well.
I know. And when I found out that the name of the song is called Work... I just lost my mind for no reason. I just thought that was really funny. I don't know, but
it's like, what are we gonna name this? Just get to work. Okay, cool. That's what we're gonna do.
Dern. Okay, so I have to say this is a solid 9. I don't know if it
surprise. No,
right? No. I mean, Will, you and I have kind of said for the past couple of episodes how much we are not excited about Hell's Paradise. And the reason why we kept saying that is because we already know that it's going to be fucking fantastic.
Yeah. It was probably one of the last things I watched when I was like doing like my seasonal schedule. But I'll
tell you what,
it was so good.
I did put it off closer to the end of all of the lineups that I did up to recording. But when I finished the first episode, the second episode was ready right away on Hong Kong Netflix. And I was just like, fucking put that shit on. I'm ready.
It was good.
Dude.
So good.
And I can tell you guys, listeners, when they get to the island I mean, we don't even have to tell you the story. Just fucking watch it. You need to watch it. You really should watch it, right, Will?
Yeah, watch it. I have no reason to tell you not to watch it.
This is your Attack on Titan, your Chainsaw Man of this anime seasonal.
No, you're about to say era, right? Because it's like it's
No.
You don't think so, right?
No.
Because there's too much right now.
It is not that good.
Well,
it is very extremely, exquisitely good, but not like God tier.
But would you say though that like in the last 3 years, right, with your Demon Slayers, your Attack on Titans, and all that, like
such a stacked list. Do you really think you can do that?
We have gotten to the point now where it's like there is no clear definition of what like the big three. In fact, like they've all just upped the ante. It's more violence, it's more gore, it's more struggle, and it's just all I'm all here for it. Right? Like okay, like it's
so
shonen.
good.
It's shonen action. Why wouldn't I like
it's
it?
It's Mappa at the level of animation quality that you know and love from all the stuff that they have put out in the last like half decade. Okay?
It's definitely worth your time. No, it's absolutely worth your time. Which means now we're going to spend more time wrapping this all up with probably the most controversial of all the anime series to air in spring 2023, Oshi no Ko.
I don't need to tell you that, which I actually am going to proceed to tell you. It is based on the manga written, not drawn, written by Aka Akasaka. It is obviously drawn by another individual, which I will...
Mango Yokoyari.
Thank you. Manga Plus, Jump Plus, it's available there. Has a current Mel score of 9.32. Currently ranked
number fucking 1. Despite having a popularity of 1,032.
Has a manga score of 8.52, rank 122, popularity 124.
So, case in point, this shit is fucking popular, and it's, according to the scores, very fucking good.
And in case you forgot about this, the first episode, there was only 11 episodes that slated to be aired, but the first episode is 90 fucking minutes. Did I stutter? No. 90 minutes.
So long, in fact, that they essentially early released that first episode as a
in
movie.
Theaters. Oh my god!
Right, 90 minutes is like a movie. It's technically a short movie. It's technically a short movie by today's standards,
quote unquote. Yeah.
But goddamn, watching it, it had movie quality production. It was fantastic all the way through in terms of like the voice acting, the art was great. Oh, by the way, the most what the fuck out of all this, it was produced by Doga Kobo, which for a long time we were like, they're decent, they're consistent.
My senpai's annoying is pretty good, right, guys?
Yeah.
And I do think that, by the way. But
yeah, Shikimori's just a cutie.
I do think it's pretty. I do think Shikimori is animated very well.
It just got released at the wrong time,
and I think the manga is really good. But yes, it got released at the wrong time, and I was like,
who would have thought? Who the fuck would have thought that there would be a #1 series produced by fucking Doga Kobo?
Look, I think Doga Kobo is a very good studio, but even when they were slated to do Oshi no Ko, I was scared.
You're like, oh.
I was so scared. I was like, if Cloverworks were to do it, that would make more sense. It makes more sense. Doga Kobo, though?
But it looks amazing. It looks really fucking good.
I have to say, that first episode, the direction of it. So,
considering they're trying to condense so many chapters, I think even like 1 or 2 volumes worth of stuff into like an hour and a half.
It didn't feel that way. It didn't feel rushed, and I wasn't like looking at the clock or anything. It just felt very organic in terms of the running time, and I thought that I wasn't sure at that time, because I'm pretty sure when we talked about it, Will, they did not announce that the first episode was going to be 90 minutes. We only found that out later. But we were like, how are they going to break it up?
Yeah.
And I do still wonder about that in the long haul. But that one...
It'll absolutely play an effect, because I'm sure it can't be 90 minutes every single episode.
No,
right?
It won't be.
And so therefore, it's like your appreciation for it will change. You're not watching it in like a short movie format. Now you're going to go back to the regular 25 minutes per episode.
What is this about? I fucking will not tell you, other than
as we didn't say shit in our ASAP too.
It's just about idols, right? Will, we can say that, right?
Music, idols.
And the idol is called I. That's it.
But there's a little bit of mystery. Just a sprinkling of mystery.
And a lot of stars, references to stars and also actual stars.
As if it wasn't like
obvious
from the imagery, right?
Fucking goddamn it. But oh my god.
You have an idol star, you have physical stars, you have star imagery everywhere on the screen. Like, you just, yeah.
I have to say, Will, I know I'm super, super impressed by the premiere.
Yeah, Dokubo did a fucking amazing job.
Can they stick the landing? Can they keep it going?
Yeah.
I have no idea. But wow, right out the gate for that whole 90 minutes to end exactly where I thought it would end appropriately as a 90-minute episode. Condensed everything perfectly. Artistically, remember we talked about the whole there's some artsy stuff that I'm not sure how it will be portrayed.
And it got pulled off pretty fucking
well. It got
well.
addressed really well. Holy fuck.
Now, the controversial part as to why I called this the most controversial series of the season. And it's not a bad thing either. It's just, I don't consider it to be, at least by Mal standards, to be the best anime, especially with only just one episode out. Yes, it's a long-ass episode.
And it's 90 minutes, so it's like multiple episodes combined.
And to put it on that kind of pedestal, is it the greatest movie of all time? No. Is it the greatest anime series of all time? No. But it's damn well enjoyable. I think there was like...
I would say, I mean, we said it, right? It would be...
an 8.9, 8.8. Or
like a 9.1.
It could be.
I would say within the realm of top 10 to 20, based off of what we have read and the premiere episode, that is like, in my opinion, the realistic sweet spot.
Yeah. I think with like how the manga got released, it was kind of not unknown. Like, people knew who the fuck Akasaka was, right? But like, it wasn't like super well known, super popular from the get go. It was like in the mid 6s.
But can you believe this?
It slowly crept up.
So Akasaka, in terms of anime on my anime list, now has 2 shows, obviously Kaguya-sama Love is War and now Oshi no Ko, high up there. That is crazy impossibly good, Will. Like, how in the fuck this mad lad genius can achieve that with both the manga front and now the anime front is fucking blowing my mind.
Well, I mean, Fujimoto's about to have that soon.
No, yeah.
Chainsaw Man and Chainsaw Man 2.
No, yeah. I'm not disputing that as well, right?
Yeah.
But it's just for something that is non-shonen action. It could be shonen-esque, but not like action, blood and gore, that kind of thing. Battling, right? This is such a... I understand why it got a 9.32 and number 1 currently on my anime list. I don't think it will stay that way.
It absolutely will not.
But it is fair to say that first episode...
Very clear
that it leaves... Your jaw will drop in terms of... It just will catch you off guard.
Don't let the 90 minutes... In fact, it's a blessing you get to watch 90 minutes.
Because if they were to chop it up, it would have been bad.
Yeah, if you watch it like 4 episodes over, right? No, it'd be 6 episodes, right? 25 a minute. Yeah, something like...
It's like an arc and a half.
Around there, yeah.
To tailor it a non-stop all the way to the end. Just like... It can't be like a Mugen Train, right? Because when they split that up, it's not the same as watching it all the way through.
It was still good. But
But
with a shonen action, it's easy to kind of dissect where the action stops and where it begins.
And still, I think it wasn't expertly kind of transitioned.
There was always going to be some, like, jarring points in which they had to splice stuff,
yeah,
right?
And you have to show the first episode that's anime original. Okay?
But with a story like Oshi no Ko, where you and I are like, how the fuck are they going to adapt this?
Oh, and guess what? Is just you just sit the fuck down and watch it all the way through, which, to be fair, is exactly what you needed to at least get to that point. Like, if it was anything afterwards where they obviously cut it up per episode, it would have made much more sense to me to do so rather than to invest. Like, I would really advocate for the 90 minutes nonstop like they did, because it was very important in terms of getting everything tied up, such that the moment the first episode ends, you have all the necessary information, the pieces of the puzzle to then now go, all right, let's fucking start this shit. That's literally the end moments. That is what they're basically trying to say to you. It's like, you guys fucking ready? Because let's fucking get this shit done.
Yeah. So, like you said, right? 2 wonderful properties under the name of Aka Akasaka, Kaguya-sama Love is War, as well as now Oshinoko. All he's got to do now is do one better and try and beat Oba and Obata, because, they got Death Note, they've got Bakuman, but they also unfortunately have Platinum End. Do you think that, once this is all done, in a couple years' time, he's going to release a 3rd series that will just blow everything out of the water? Because Kaguya-sama ascended to the top as well at one point.
Wait, so you're saying that this will be a dud then?
No, I'm saying that, do you think they're going to make a 3rd one? Do you think,
and have it be a dud?
No.
Because Platinum End was a dud.
Do one better. Are they going to make it a hat trick and actually have 3 for 3? The 3rd series that they make, brand fucking new, is going to be another one that sends the charts and reaches number 1. Well, because not to say that Bakuman ever reached there, but Bakuman is popular and good.
Stay tuned for Good Anime Palette episode number 262, where we talk about this eventual manga anime adaptation.
Yeah. So go watch it. If there was something that you really need to sit down and enjoy the fuck out of it, it would be this.
So let's just, before I get into housekeeping, Will, 3 or 4 shows, just give me spitball a couple that you would advocate a lot, even if it's obvious from the get-go.
Deadbound Death Play, Jigokuraku, Oshinoko, and
Heavenly Delusions.
Yes. And I'll throw in a curveball and also throw in my Clueless First Friend.
I would
really like that one.
Okay. I still think it's pretty good, though. But I would advocate for Insomniacs After School, Heavenly Delusions, Hell's Paradise, and Oshinoko. I think there are so many decent, good choices.
What's also really good as well is that of the 4 ASAP series we talked about, 3 of them are doing really well. I mean, granted, the Dangers in My Heart, it's okay still, but we weren't super hot on it anyway to begin with. So the fact that it stayed consistent in terms of being a decent anime, along with it being a decent manga, hey, you know what? Good for them. So yeah, I think what I'm trying to say is look out for what we talk about in ASAP 3, because those things are for sure going to be fucking good too.
Oh god. Dude, you know what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Holy shit. All right. That is the end of our episode and our current analysis of the spring 2023 seasonal lineup. You can always reach us through our email, gapalette@gmail.com. That's GAPALETTE, all lowercase, all one word. We have the handle @PaletteGood. That's capital P and capital G, all one word. And our GAP Discord server, our invite linkage in the show description. Sorry about that, flub. We have a website, www.goodanimepalette.com. Check that out. And music credits for this episode. In Europe, it does our intro music by Hasten. Our break music is Botai by Oi. And our outro music is I Don't Mind, the instrumental version by Particle House. You can support the music artists that we listen to through any of your music listening platforms, whether it is Spotify, Apple Music, or whichever music listening platform that you listen to. And our royalty-free music was provided courtesy of Epidemic Sound. If you're interested, you can always sign up using the referral link in our show description. Terms and conditions apply.
I think we don't really have all that much to say, post-discussion, because, damn, we went in hard for spring. Granted, in terms of how the distribution is for the scores, it's not that different from previous seasons. There's just something about the series we're watching now that are I'm pretty hyped for them. I'm pretty on edge in terms of wanting to watch more stuff. More so than previous seasons.
Yeah, exactly. I think one of the things for us personally, at least, is we seem to have a first world problems of whether it is finishing seasonals or keeping up with the latest episodes of a lot of shows or some shows even, right? Due to our podcasting responsibilities and so on and so forth. I felt even more invigorated compared to other past seasonals to really be on top of things this time around. Does that mean I am still going to be on top of things like weeks from now? Probably. I don't know. But I will try harder than I did before.
Yeah. For the most part, the 90% of the stuff we discussed in this episode, I would say we thoroughly enjoyed watching. To some extent or to the full extent.
I think there are shows that are definitely considered better than others for sure. But I think all of these shows are way more on a level playing field than I give credit for.
Right? Like it's like you like Insomniacs After School more than me, and I like My Clueless First Friend more than you. But both of them are great.
I do admit that both of them are great. Who would have thought that we give a shit about edgy isekais this season, and then we have two?
Who would have thought as well? You know, right? Like Death Play, as well as
really
Heavenly Delusions.
Heavenly Delusions, at least I can suspect to be like, oh, it's kind of going for that kind of show, huh? Okay, I see.
Which would you say is the bigger surprise between the two?
Not Heavenly Delusions.
Yeah, just because of the
pedigree of Heavenly Delusions, I kind of knew that it was have that mystery suspense element.
But Death Play.
Are you telling me an edgy, reincarnated, violent isekai is worth my attention? I will be like, fuck off.
Another isekai, another edgelord fucking series. Oh, that's gonna flop. Nope, it's not flopping right now. It's fucking fun.
And you should not flip-flop on that. You should definitely watch Spring 2023 because whatever you want, whatever you love, they have it in spades this time around.
Yep. So you listened to us speak for almost 3 hours about seasonal stuff for Spring 2023. Now it's your turn to go back onto Crunchyroll, Netflix, High Dive, or whatever platform you're
Disney
watching.
Plus.
And just watch some anime because, damn, this season is good. So, without further ado, turn this shit off. Go turn on your TV.
Why don't you spring into action and watch some seasonals, huh? Motherfuckers.
Get sprung. Take care, y'all.